Lotus is starting his intro. Go ahead.
What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Lotus. Shut the fuck up, nigga. What's best? And yeah, I don't know in what form or fashion you're seeing this on the YouTube channel, but as you can see, I'm here in a Discord call right now, joined by several other members from the Dragon Ball FighterZ community, all of which I would say are.
What happened, Kat?
You should know, love, and respect. And I guess just going in order for we got
better than all of
Daniel,
them.
the kill. Shut up.
Wait,
Brian,
Sage is here?
Fred, myself. Sage is in fact here.
When did he get here?
Just now.
When?
Oh,
Bro, I promise you, I don't understand how you ever became a top player with these types of reactions, bro.
Bro, Sage literally just got here. Don't even talk to me. He literally popped in the
Anywho.
intro.
Nitro's literally
We
lagging.
got
let him
Nitro,
cook,
who's
let
got
him
the
cook.
reactions of a dead cat somehow. Raptor, C-React, Seihan, Wade, and Zane. And we may or may not have a couple other people pop in as this goes. Oh,
And he's gone.
and he's gone.
And he's gone.
But yeah,
honestly can't blame him.
I gathered everyone here today because I wanted to get as many players as I could to discuss the most recent and potentially, as far as we're aware, final patch for the game and the current state of Dragon Ball FighterZ. Obviously, I've got a collection of a lot of different players here, not only just from around the country, but from around the world. We got a bunch of different perspectives. I think a lot of them will be similar, but I think that a couple of them will differ here, so I think it'll make for a fun and interesting discussion. So I'm live on the Twitch channel right now, twitch.tv/SourceScore. Links in the description down below. And some of these guys are live as well. Links to everyone and names will be on screen and in the description and stuff like that, where you can check people out, follow them, all that good stuff. And yeah, however this makes it onto the channel, it does, and hopefully y'all enjoyed it if you weren't here for it live. And with that being said, fellas, how we feeling about the patch?
LOL.
Calling it the last
Well, let's
patch
do-
is just like cursing it to get an even more cursed patch in the future. Because we're on the final patch for real for like the 4th time now.
Yeah, they definitely made us believe that the final patch was gonna be a couple patches ago, and they were like, but wait, we could fuck this up more.
I'ma just start it.
We made it.
I know a lot of you guys are professionals. You're gonna get mad, but the patch is kind of it. It kind of grew on
Honestly,
me.
it's fun.
So that's
Anyways.
I mean, obviously you the homie anyway, but a big reason why I wanted you in particular to be here, and I invited Dado as well, but he's got some stuff going on right now, so he unfortunately couldn't be here today. Because I know that you
understand, that makes me
actually
nervous.
you actually enjoy the patch and think more positively of it than I think some of us, and especially myself, do. And so I wanted some more positive perspectives on it as well, because I know that you're having fun with it. I mean, the combos are crazy. Your characters got buffed. Well, aside from him getting nerfed with the meter game thing a little bit ago, but yeah. So actually, Dan, I'm very curious to hear. Let's actually start it off with somebody who's got more of a positive perspective, and then we can probably go down the line.
I have a positive perspective, actually.
Oh, hell yeah.
Honestly,
Honestly,
I'm gonna start.
No,
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 no.
This is very important. This is very important.
All right, what you got?
I can say some stupid shit.
John F.
Inbound.
Kennedy is in my lobby right now.
I knew it.
Oh my
This
god.
I
is
knew it.
literally the best patch.
Anyway, Dion, I'm very curious to hear what you have to say in regards to the patch and the current state of Dragon Ball FighterZ.
So when I was first playing it, I was like, this shit is so stupid. It's so dumb. Like everything I did, I was like, damn, this is so dumb. And then an hour passes and I'm just like, wow, this is so dumb. Haha. And then 2 hours pass. I'm like, dang, this is just so stupid. And then next thing you know, I'm having the time of my life. It's like 4 hours. I'm like, damn, this patch kind of it. Like I didn't even notice all this time passing. I'm having fun. Like all the characters are crazy. I get it. It is chaotic. Like let me preface this by saying, if I was a professional player and had to like take this shit more seriously, then I'd be like, okay, this is kind of annoying. This is kind of like jank. Like all this random shit can happen. But like as a video game, this shit is like mad fun right now. Every character as an anchor can go crazy, and the linking the level 1s into the level 3s was like a really cool addition to me. Overall, and yes, all my characters did get buffed as well, but no bias. But yeah, I mean, I think the patch is kind of it. Every character is viable. I feel like we're getting as much character diversity now, like more so than we ever have in the past. It's not just like Fusion's Android 21. Like when I queue in, it could be really anybody. I'm hearing myself twice, by the way. Who doing that?
This is a load of
I don't
particles.
Yeah, I was
Actually-
letting you finish, but I think it's coming from Enzo. He's got an echo over there.
I actually agree with him a lot on that, because like initially I thought this patch was just for, like, as a competitive player I thought it was completely garbage, but like the more I played the game I'm like, you know what, this is actually pretty good. The fact that you can play a lot of your old teams that are viable now, like even characters like before that weren't really good, they're good now. So your season 2 teams are playable, your season 1 team, season 3, whatever, I think this is probably the most fun the game's gonna be since season 3, to be honest.
I do also feel like. Oh, I'm sorry.
Nah.
Mine's just like a short comment. That's like I feel like if there is any like IP for shit to just be like crazy and constantly like happening all the time is probably Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Like a way to put the patch is they have made the game more Dragon Ball.
More
Like
chaotic. Yeah, I
like
agree.
the level one,
That-
like the level ones into level
That is a
3s.
sentiment that I've seen a lot in my comments on YouTube. Is that people are like, "Oh, the
Yeah,
game
I
feels
can-
more like
it's-
Dragon Ball than ever
yeah.
before."
For the casual
Sure,
players as
which
well,
is-
it's a lot more
I
fun.
was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah,
If you're
like,
not a competitive player, you're probably having the time of your life.
Yeah, I think it's the best for content.
to add on to that, like,
I agree.
when I'm streaming, I actually noticed. I said it in my stream like, a couple days ago. I was like, yeah, this is very fun on stream. I couldn't imagine having to compete with this, but to like play just on a
But you
very
ain't gonna have to
casual.
imagine it for very long, but
I think-
If I had
It's a
to-
duality of man.
It's
gonna be
perfect
the
that you
duality
said
of
that,
man.
Lotus. If I hit 100 subs, I'm at 35 right now. If I hit 100 subs, I will be going to see Otaku and play Dragon Ball. Thank you for mentioning that, Lotus. I can't believe you said that for me. Thank
this
you.
nigga
But,
just asked for subs on my stream.
Yeah.
yep, because you want to be a smart ass, right? You want to be a smart ass. Anyways,
This nigga
back
don't know.
to
I will
say.
kick him from this call right now.
Anyways, yeah.
Alright,
but,
go
like,
ahead, secure the bag, dog. I'm trying to continue to play.
but my experience, like, just playing casually, just chilling, just in my boxers, just playing TN. I'm just like,
Why do we need to know that?
it's a figure
Very
of
necessary
speech.
detail.
It is a figure of
Battle attire.
Nah.
Nitro just adding to the list of reasons why he might get kicked out sometime.
No, Lotus, you invited Nitro to the call?
He did actually.
You
You would
have
understand.
much room to talk, Mr. TV, okay? You guys are here on YouTube are gonna be missing some context, but that's a dangerous, vile person up there. Above.
That bot is
You should-
deleted. Let me
you
roll.
should- cat.
You a cat?
Anyway,
Alright, keep it up.
I do want to hear everyone's like in-depth thoughts,
Yeah.
but like, can we get a I don't know, a yes I like it or a no I don't like it? Just like
You
really
just
quick.
wanna
I
go
just
down
want to
the
see
line
what the
one at a
numbers
time.
are. Yeah, like overall, what's the majority like consensus here?
Alright, let's start with Daniel, and then we'll just go down the line. Daniel, do you like the patch?
Yeah, I think it's good right now.
Enzo, do you like the patch?
Yeah.
Jake Ryan, do you like the patch?
It's growing on me.
Okay. Fred,
I only like it because the team gone.
go figure. I don't like it personally, but that's just me. Nitro,
I like it very casually. I don't think I would like it competitively.
Raptor.
I like it casually as well, but I'm curious to see how it actually does turn out competitively.
Dion.
I think it's better for the overall health of the game in terms of the majority of people who are just like at the store picking up video games, like people who are competing. I understand where you're coming from, but that was a very long-winded yes. I like it.
Say huh?
It's better than the previous patch, but I still think overall it's not really growing on me.
For sure. Wade.
Since the next
Not a big fan of it, and I despise the idea of competing on it.
Gotcha. So okay, I'm actually really happy to say this because we got a pretty good mix now of people who are like not feeling it, people who are feeling it, and then several of you are like, I mean, it's fun while I'm playing it on stream, but I ain't looking forward to playing this at tournaments.
Yeah, that's kind of how all the competitive players feel.
Yeah.
Same.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
my next question to you guys then is, do you guys feel like the patch was a success? And I ask this because it seems very obvious to me, and maybe obvious to a lot of you guys, that they are not worrying about the people who are playing in these tournaments. I mean, it's not that they're not taking into account at all, but their focus definitely seems to be the more casual audience, and people who are still new and picking up the game, or people who are new to finding games, or people who are more people who care more about the IP of Dragon Ball and playing as Goku compared to playing the game competitively. So from that perspective, do you guys think this patch was a success, and do you agree with the fact that that's what they're trying to do?
I would love to chime in on this and give it like a little bit more of an in-depth answer, because from a commentator's perspective, right, it's supposed to be exciting, flashy for the general audience. Like most of the time in Twitch chat, you're going to have a ton of lurkers, ton of people chatting, and they just want to see Goku do some crazy shit, right? That's what they want to see. They want to see somebody in Dragon Ball like connect to Kamehameha from full screen and then go in, or like before it was like you just vanish. But now it has that kind of impact, because anytime you've watched Dragon Ball, if somebody gets hit by a final flash or anything like that. They are getting absolutely blasted. You should be able to follow up after that. Like, exactly with Cooler's 3H in the movie, for example. He goes straight through Goku's beam and then just starts delivering the hands. And I feel like that's where most of the combos have really like gone to. It's just these characters get to show how powerful they are, and it's nice from a commentary perspective because you get to pop off and go through it. But as a competitive player, it really turned me off from it. So like the casual base, absolutely making content for this is like booming. You could just show some of the craziest stuff. It doesn't even have to be a 7-bar TOD anymore. Like you can TOD off of like all these different situations, and the thumbnails make themselves. So I think content wise, it's wonderful. For the casual audience, it's great. And for what Bandai, I think, was trying to achieve, yes, they got there, but the competitive scene piece of it definitely got hurt. The execution piece of the conversation really got lessened. You can do Baby's first combo with pretty much every single character, getting solo DRs in situations with Teen Gohan looking at you, Pred, and it's just creating these crazy wild situations where it's like, wow, you know, this character had to give this up to get this situation. Nope, everybody gets everything. And then the bad part is,
Goku.
yeah, the bad part is there's still some stragglers. Like there are still some characters that need that love, and like as a competitive player, I'm happy I'm a commentator. That's where I'm at.
You had a good run, Jake.
I just want to say one thing real fast though. Lotus, I'm gonna go against you a little bit for a second there. I literally do not think for a second that they considered the competitive side of this game at all when they made this patch.
You don't think so?
Yeah, I was gonna say
I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt and say they didn't completely disregard it, but I'd be lying to you if I said it doesn't feel that way.
I am not. I'm not even going to give them the benefit of the doubt with some of the stuff they did on this patch.
I'm not gonna debate you on that because it's not like I struggled to agree. Like it's just. I wasn't and that's another thing with me and this game and with Bandai and Arc System. Whoever has the call, the most pull, calling the shots is that like I want to love the game so bad. I'm always giving them the benefit of the doubt. I'm always trying to be optimistic first, but I've just been hurt so much that it's like sometimes
hear me out.
But to be like Mr. Gloom and Doom, but it's like, bro, I've been playing this game for 5.5 years and being one of its biggest supporters and content creators and pushing it and supporting it and doing everything that I can because I love that game. So
I think it's good and bad for the competitive scene. Now, hear me out. Like, I know for the competitive players, yeah, it's ass. Like, damn, I feel for y'all. But
so where's the good part?
But for, listen.
For the people watching,
no, for real. Like, think about it. Like, what they're trying to do, they're promoting these competitive events for a reason. They want like a wide audience to like watch this and enjoy it. And like Jake said, as a commentator, it's super hype and all this. So it's weird because it's like at the expense of the competitive player, the competitive scene can potentially thrive more because of the fact that there's a bigger audience and like, you know, people are super hyped. Like think about all the crazy moments that are gonna like, you know, clips that are gonna spawn from this patch when the next big major event happens. Like all the crazy, you know, limit break character comebacks and hype shit like that. So again, it's weird. It's at the expense of the competitive player, but I feel like the competitive scene in a way gets like uplifted.
I see what you're saying. That's just
but we're literally going to have that happen for a single tournament, and everyone's going to freak out about it. Everyone who watches is going to freak out about it, and then every single player who played in it that had happened to all going to be like, I'm not doing that again. I'm just going to go watch.
But to be honest,
I get to thrive.
Unless you're France and
that makes a lot of sense though, because like the fact that this patch is so good for the casual base is gonna bring more players into the game. So naturally,
more casual players will be interested in the competitive
side.
side.
Instead of the 50 entries, the 100 entries we got out of major or whatever, we're gonna have even more players. Yeah, there'll be more casual to be weaker in terms of strength and in terms of skill level, but we have overall more players because
Lotus,
everybody who came back to the game saying, "Oh my god, I could do level 1 to level 3," and they're like, "Wow, I want to play this game now."
Yeah, right. Lotus, I got a perfect analogy or metaphor, whatever the word is for this.
For sure.
You know how like in the 90s basketball, like they all, or maybe even the 80s, they all like dribbled it like right below their hands, no crazy crossovers and shit like that. But like by the book, that's how you're supposed to play. Otherwise it's a carry, whatever. So it got way more interesting when AI showed up with this crazy crossover bullshit. Exactly. So I think it's a similar concept where like you can do all this crazy shit and you know you're gonna have like the people like I'm gonna say it, season 2. I think Lotus, you said that was your favorite season.
The very
As a
beginning of
viewer,
season 2, yeah.
as a casual viewer, like I was even more casual. Like I'm still casual, but I was even more casual back then. As a viewer, just watching Snap Meta was the driest,
mate.
boringest, fucking saltine
no,
cracker
I-
eating.
I
Fucking,
feel you on that,
shit
but
was whack.
I have to say this, right? So the reason why I say season 2 is my favorite, honestly, season 1 has a good argument as well. Not because of necessarily I feel like that was the peak of the game, but just because that's when the game first came out. It was the most hype. We were the biggest game at every event, and that shit was fucking nuts. And I just loved watching every tournament. But in
It's
season
still
2,
like the biggest Evo Finals viewing, isn't it?
I could not say,
I
but I know
Street
that.
Fighter?
Dragon Ball Fighter.
I was
yeah,
like,
it was
ever?
the
Well-
highest viewed for Dragon Ball Fighters. That
Oh,
season.
yeah, for
the
Dragon
season
Ball, yeah.
final
It was like
was definitely the
160k or something
Yeah.
I
absolutely
also think
absurd.
that's
Yeah.
because
And
of the
that's-
age
that's
of the
great.
game.
Yeah, the game was
Like,
yeah,
like it's a
and
5-year-old
IP
game
helped a
now.
lot.
Yeah, but all I want to say is that when season 2 first came out, I feel like myself and a lot of other players as well, we were like, yo, the games is like they really stepped it up another notch, and it felt like it had been refined a lot. And some of the things that we didn't like were improved. And obviously the game was still flawed, and we still don't have rollback to this day. And there was a lot of other things. But at the beginning of season 2, Snap was a mechanic that we were definitely using, but it wasn't as refined as it got later. I always say that season 2 before GT Goku released, because by the time GT Goku comes out, for one, we were on that patch for the entirety of the year, and GT Goku was very obviously the strongest character in the game, and he ended up being on basically every single team, and he was the first character that got introduced where we started to discuss real should this character be banned discourse.
Those were the worst days. I ain't
You
gonna lie.
you kind of
The dark
heard some
ages.
rumblings about it with Bardock, but that never really went anywhere. But with GT Goku, really heard that, and then obviously Snap was already a thing, but then Universal Fuzzy was introduced.
Yeah,
and then-
Universal Fuzzy.
Which is
Yeah,
why
it
I'm
was
so
crazy.
sad Sage isn't here that we can't ask him what it was like getting
Yeah.
triple
Oh, yeah.
fuzzied with Z
But-
Broly and that
yeah.
method.
That's
Sage-
why he- that's why he
Sage is
left.
always Sage and Femich are also my examples as to why like it was obviously prevalent and it was an issue, but it's not like, oh, these characters are completely unplayable and completely inviolable, because Femich and
Yeah.
Sage were winning tournaments and top 8ing at every event despite
Oh.
playing big body characters. You know what I'm saying? And did they get fuzzied? For sure. Did I watch Goichi call GT Goku A assist in neutral and then fuzzy Femich mid screen? Of course,
Yeah.
I saw that.
That was
happen.
hype. That was
I-
hype.
That was actually-
It was kind of hype. I ain't gonna lie.
It
though.
was hype,
But-
it was
It was a lot more hype. It was a lot more hype because it involved more skill, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I would argue
But-
that as
but-
well.
but-
the-
but-
You have to outplay your opponent so that you don't get snap fuzzy, right, over and over again. So you have to see the neutral be played. So you have
But
to
again,
see
well,
red, nitro,
alright, no,
move
listen,
around the
I have-
screen.
you
Listen,
could argue that there's more
alright.
neutral being played now than there
No, I
was
have
then,
a- I
because
have a
once
fucking
that
bone to pick.
started going, like you kind of just didn't get to play anymore. But
But
that's-
I get what you're saying.
Listen,
You
yeah,
also
I have a
that's
serious
fine now,
bone to
so-
pick with the meme of like the neutral was better in season 2, because as Snap Meta developed, the entire name of the game was to play as little neutral as possible.
Well, I feel like that's still the name
That's-
of the
that
game.
was the whole point.
So
Nah,
I-
even now,
that-
No,
dude.
I would say
Yeah.
that the neutral was better in terms of how it was played, and you could argue that it took more skill back then, but you were playing less of it because once
Yeah.
somebody got their
Yeah,
snap shit
it's-
rolling,
Yeah, I can agree
The
with
then it was
that.
just
The
kind of
whole
like
idea,
you're
Yeah.
guessing over and over again until a character dies.
the
Yeah,
whole
we- we-
idea of the neutral was better was the fact that you ran the risk of only being able to play it once, so you had to actually be careful. Now that we get to play it multiple times, which is
Yeah.
the argument here,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that
Because as much as people have memed about like the recent patch being compared to Marvel, I feel like season 2 was going to get the closest to Marvel because there were absolutely games where you just don't get to play. Like you were just stuck in the corner. You just
Yeah,
get
those-
Yeah,
mixed
yeah.
for like
As
a
somebody-
full 60 seconds
Shouldn't
and you
have
die.
got hit.
Right.
I'll agree
No,
with
that-
you.
yeah, I was about to say,
Yeah.
bro, that's whack, bro. And somebody
But
said
what-
it was
what I
more
will say-
hype because it took more skill. That's like, yeah, for a competitive viewer
a
watching
single
a
touch.
tournament, they're like, oh wow, I like people who understand fuzzies obviously are gonna be like, oh wow, that's so hype that he got out of that situation after getting triple fuzzy, blah blah blah. But for the casual viewer, it's just like, oh, we're
They
just
don't care.
watching DR over and over and over
Nah,
again. Like that's
see,
it.
I would argue against that because as somebody
Yeah.
who obviously was restreaming like every single tournament ever, and I still watch a lot of them, right? Like obviously I only have but such a small like sample size in the grand scheme of things, but me and my chat, we were hyping fuck all throughout season
Nah,
1 and 2, regardless of it. You know what I'm saying?
I was
Like,
definitely
the-
dancing in my kitchen about
yeah,
that
the
season.
stream
you
was
feel me?
popping and like and,
It was
and
perfect
obviously
for the competitive
Yeah,
players.
yeah,
in a situation like that, people also had the benefit of like me being the streamer and being somebody who is more in tune with it, and it's a little bit
Yeah,
more
you're like a
knowledgeable than my chat.
commentator.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm
You're
able
like
to
a
explain
proxy
a lot of that
commentator
stuff as
explaining
well.
a lot of what's going on.
Right. So
Yeah.
that definitely plays a part.
I-
But you know, I obviously, yeah, there are some people who are gonna watch that game after and be like, I have no clue what the fuck is going on. But I
Yeah,
feel like that's
what?
even that. I feel like that's
I-
that game to this day still.
I
Yeah, for sure.
definitely think those situations too, where it was really cool because yeah, it's like okay, this is such a really oppressive situation. You're dealing with triple fuzzies. You're dealing with fuzzies on incoming snap and everything, and then you see the top level players still blocking it out, dealing with it, and I think that was one of the coolest parts. It's like look how strong this situation is that they've created, and you can get to it if you win that neutral once and really dominate the game, and then you see To Kill Sage dominate Japan for 2 weeks at
with a
Fighting
character that
Tuesday
they didn't
with
think
a
was good.
character that they think that sucks, and they're like, I'm just gonna fuzzy him. It's gonna be easy, and he makes them all look like clowns because he was able to navigate through that, defend through that, and it even got to a point where Sonic Fox versus Goichi had to develop even further. Goichi had to figure out how to deal with Sonic's
Hit boot.
specific team to keep him in that position, and he figured it out. Right, so like that was really cool because the high skill floor and then having that be exemplified was amazing. And then now it's like, okay, you got everything that skips neutral and you play it a lot more now. So, and people got better too. It's like people got better at moving, got better at navigating. And it's just different. It's a different game.
Also,
they're-
one
yeah,
thing
they're-
I just want to know about fuzzies and things in season 2. My biggest bone, because I'd never thought fuzzy was a big deal or that it should have been removed. Obviously,
Yeah,
universal
same.
fuzzy should have been removed, right? I think figuring out
fun.
how to
yeah.
like
Oh, yeah.
get rid of that was necessary, but removing the idea of a fuzzy entirely from the game, I thought
That's
that was
like-
kind of whack. But also
it's-
with me, as somebody who was like on both sides of like, obviously I'm very in tune with the competitive side, and I'm very much so in tune with the casual side because that's my audience. I felt like the majority of people who complained about fuzzies and was like, oh, I can't play cool or I can't play cell, da da da. You niggas weren't getting fuzzied. I'm sorry, y'all weren't playing at the level to where that shit was happening to you.
I
You're not.
actually want to. I want to add on to that because like the fact they removed fuzzies and fuzzies is like not even just anime thing. It is like every game. Like we're still fuzzing people in what is it?
Nah,
Street
in
Fighter.
yeah, in every game they
People are getting
You've still
fuzzied
got-
in
you've
Street
still got
Fighter.
the instant
yeah.
jump overhead, right?
That is not something that's just like, oh my god, I can't play big bodies. That's never been a thing.
Well-
People got fuzzy. People got fuzzy for
context,
But that's
years.
the thing,
People getting
because-
fuzzies for years and
because
still
Dragon
winning
Ball
majors.
Because Dragon Ball Fighters is Dragon Ball, obviously there's a whole new crowd of people who have never played a fighting game or
Nah,
haven't
for
played a
sure.
fighting game seriously. And so a lot of them first learned what a fuzzy is because of that game. And so in their mind, it's like, oh, this whole new concept. Like they just learned the word and then it became like their new biggest fear. It's like, oh, I can't play Broly now because
Yeah.
I'll get fuzzy. But when in reality, it's like, unless you're playing at a very high level, that's almost never going to come up because you're
So-
not, in season 2, you're not queuing up for a game of ranked at Living Legend and getting fuzzy. But maybe Living Legend.
So are you
Hold on,
saying?
hold on.
Hold on.
I feel
Overall, are
like-
you trying to say you wish
Until you
fuzzies
do.
weren't removed?
Yes.
Yes,
I do.
honestly.
I agree with that.
I just
Wait. Hold
again,
on.
Hold on.
And also, let me-
universal, the universal fuzzy needed to be changed or removed or tweaked somehow.
Yeah,
But
I agree with that one.
removing the concept or the mechanic of a fuzzy in general from the game, I felt like was a bad move.
You think it was a lazy change?
So
Yes.
So hold on. Again, for that casual audience and slightly myself, maybe describe like I know vaguely what a fuzzy is. Bigger body characters can get like hit by certain shit that other characters can't. But can you explain exactly like what is the definition of a fuzzy?
So
And why
the-
is
the
it
theory-
good in your opinion? If
So the
it,
theory
if
of a
it made other
fuzzy-
characters not getting played.
Let
So
Nitro take it.
to start with, the theory of a fuzzy is like you're locked in a standing state. So the next move that is hit, it would be an instant overhead if they did like jump jab or something, right? And
Okay.
typically for like, I'd say, how many? Probably more than 15 years. It has been a thing where it's like this tall character has gotten fuzzied because they are tall. That is the weakness of a character with giant limbs, such as Broly. Like he would have giant limbs and zoning, right? So what's the
Okay.
weakness? What's the weakness for
Trade-off.
Broly? The weakness for Broly is he's gonna have to take more mix-ups now. So in the older games, they would have more health, and more health was like, oh, we need a trade-off for this. You take a bigger mix-up. That would be like the kind of thing that would make it good, you know?
See, that's fair. That's fair against Broly, but that's the perfect example because, like, obviously, fuck Z Broly, but like any other character,
You can fuzzy
like, that's
Frieza.
sad, bro.
You can fuzzy Frieza.
Yeah,
Well, no, but
Oh,
that's what I'm saying. Like
let's say-
fuzzies in general, I felt like were fine, but the universal fuzzy
Well-
that was working on everyone, that I
Are we
I get
really-
that.
Is as well.
Wait, are we
Fuzzies
really
in other
gonna-
games. Do they really give you as much reward as you were able to do with Bardock
They-
being able
they
to
gave
like
more.
fucking
They gave
oh,
more.
like insta launch in the
Well,
corner.
They were giving full combos.
Like,
Also,
look at-
Cloud, welcome to the stream, buddy.
Yeah, hold on. Let me answer that question for you, Raptor. Look at Street Fighter 6. When JP
Like
hits you
shit.
with a fuzzy, you explode.
You
You
actually
know?
take 50.
60%, bro.
I was thinking early
And-
Street
and,
Fighter.
like,
Jerry
Back to the
fuzzied you and
Frieza.
you
Back to the
died?
Frieza point. Are we really going to defend a racist character from getting fuzzy?
Talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to him.
Is that what we're doing?
Well,
I'm just saying. I personally would not, as a black man
Houston,
myself.
But
Houston,
doesn't that
Houston.
kill?
Personally, Frieza can
Like-
get his dome piece cracked.
Like one of the things that I feel like this patch was trying to accomplish, and obviously it's very, polarizing whether or not they achieved it through how they went about it, but character diversity. I think one thing that they did succeed at, obviously the way they did it is, to be debated, but the character diversity I think is at the best that it's ever been
I would agree with that.
at this.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I guess we'll have to see how it, performs in a tournament, but I feel like it's at the best that it's ever been. And to bring back the fuzzy thing, wouldn't that just turn people off of characters, and then we're just going backwards in a sense?
It would
then
to some
characters
degree, but
wouldn't
I feel
want
like
to.
that's a lot has to do
people
with
wouldn't wanna
people
play
being
'em.
like misinformed. Because again, like the reason why certain characters weren't getting played or like people brought it up is because they thought they were going to get fuzzied if they jumped online, which normally wasn't the case.
This is
if you wanted
similar to what I was saying earlier too. There's a lot of characters that are now playable. Your favorite team from season
Right.
1, season 2, season 3, whatever. Like now you can play those old teams, though. GT, Bardock, Cell, whatever. You SJ Vegeta, Bardock, Cell, whatever you want to play, you can play it now because they're actually viable.
And
I
I'm
will
gonna be
say,
honest.
though-
I'm gonna be honest and say the idea of the fact they can't be played because they're getting fuzzied would be literally debunked from 3 years ago, where 2 of the top 3 teams
had a
had
tall character.
tall characters.
It's
And-
season 2 World
and
Finals top 3 was
se-
Goichi,
se-
Sage, and Fenrich.
Season 1, one of the hardest matches that Goichi has won was with 21 on the opposite side of the team, which is a
21?
fuzzyable
Wasn't it
character.
21 and so?
I
Yes.
don't remember the second.
Leffen was
Well,
playing
Yeah.
21
Yeah.
Cell
The-
and
the-
Super
the per-
Saiyan.
the-
Yeah.
The person that
Yeah.
kept
Yeah.
the person that kept beating Goichi had 16, had Zamasu, all tall characters against Bardock. So that would just debunk anything. You guys are just.
Pussy.
I was gonna keep it PG, but yes, you guys.
I'll give you
It's a skill.
16,
It's a
but
skill issue.
Zamasu was there just to build meter and die.
It doesn't matter
Zamasu
why
was-
Zamasu
was
was there.
literally just
He
there to
was
die.
there.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, regardless of what he was there for, he was there.
He
So
was
but
there.
it sounds.
I
It
do
really
wanna
does
say
sound like a
this.
skill issue overall, though. No.
I do want to say this about character diversity, though. I've always understood, and obviously, I'm a fan of diversity as well. No one wants to see the exact same team all the time, right? Granted, there
Yeah,
are characters that we all enjoy and like. So for me, it's like if Trunks is on every team, I would fucking love that. That ain't never gonna happen in this game, but I wouldn't be mad at seeing 7 Trunks. as the
disagree.
top-
I
top
want to see
8.
Vegeta. Let's go. Give Vegeta.
How-
Even with my
however-
favorite characters, I don't want to see them over and over. Then I'm turned off. I don't even want to play them. If ever
And
once everyone
I
started playing
understand
Blue Vegeta, I was like, all right, now I don't want to play him because everyone's fucking
No,
playing him.
for
I
sure.
mean,
I
to
do
be
that. I feel
completely
that.
honest, that did happen because in like season 3 and season 2, like at least for the casuals, if Vegito or Gogeta got on the screen, the entire chat was hype. Like especially like every time Vegito was on screen in like season 2 and
For
tournaments.
sure,
And
and
now,
then-
Yeah, before he got
While
yeah.
like using
they
vanilla
get so
Vegeta.
like,
By the way,
you
by the
pick
way, I did
Vegito, the
cut you
viewers
off,
get cut in
Lotus. Go
half.
ahead. My bad. My bad.
Not in you, not in you, because everybody was playing Vegito, bro. So that was not I.
And that is the thing. EU was definitely on the Vegito wave like long beforehand. I remember Jilla being in Wanted way back then, just doing crackhead stuff with that character and just being like,
God,
"Yo,
that was
fuck
so
this
funny.
nigga."
The whole Vegito has
Yeah.
no mix thing.
Only
Oh,
one
bro.
was on
Has
the
no
West
mix.
Coast
Bro.
Subatomic
Oh,
Sabers. And he
Yo,
was
you know what's crazy about that, by the way? The meme for years about Vegito is that he has no mix because his 2L's not a low. Now his 2L's a fucking low, as if he knew that. But go,
They were
go,
just
go
like, it
off. He
doesn't matter.
finally got it 4 years
It's
later,
not
as
going
if
to
he
matter.
fucking needed it. But whatever.
Listen, they took
I-
they mildly nerfed his Aesis. They were worried he'd be unviable.
Anyway, I want to
There
touch
it
back on the
is.
character diversity thing though, because even though I understood how much the casual audience cares about that, and I understand how much I care about it, I still think that I underestimated just how important that single aspect is to so many people who play and watch the game, because that is one of the reoccurring like subjects or topics or like lines of thought that I've seen in Twitch chats and in YouTube comments, and specifically whenever I bring the game up or talk about it, is people saying, "Oh, but the game is more diverse than ever before." And I'm like, yeah, I get that, and that is a good thing, and that's like one of people's biggest arguments as to why they like the patch or why the patch is good. And I guess for me, I always felt like there are so many more aspects of a fighting game or just games in general that are important to me or like that matter than just how diverse everyone's teams are. Because for one, this is a team game, and like we have a pretty decent roster in this game at this point. But there's always going to be crossover. There's always going to be characters that show up multiple times because that's just the nature of a team game. But also just beyond that, the nature of a fighting game is that whichever characters are the strongest will inevitably get played the most at every level, and especially at the competitive level. And I think that this patch is no different. Go on.
Lotus, would you consider yourself to be a casual or a competitive player?
I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I've kind of looked at myself as the bridge between both since this game came out. Because like
I am the light.
Yeah, like I very much was a casual player coming into this, but this is the first time I ever dedicated myself so much to a game. And like I've competed, I've done little commentary here and there, and I've created my fair share of content both on Twitch and YouTube. So yeah, I consider myself somewhere in the middle. But that being said, while this patch does have, for sure, I won't argue that at all, the most diversity, at some point, like the quote unquote meta or the top tiers will get figured out. And while I do think that even once the meta does take form, you'll still see more diversity than we have in the past. The inevitability is that like you're still gonna see some characters show up multiple times across teams. Like that's just how fighting.
Lotus, I'm about to expose you, bro. I'm sorry, bro, but like, what if they just buffed Trunks and gave him what they gave him, and then they buffed nobody else, but Trunks got what he got? Would you then like this patch?
No, and I also don't even think Trunks would still be top tier.
Here's the thing for me, right? Sorry to cut you off, but they shot themselves in the foot. What was it, 3.5 when they put in special tag and they started giving characters crazy changes? They couldn't go back. That was the point of no return for them. It's like, oh, we did too much. We can't go back.
But they're like, it's over now.
Right? That was the point of no return, and they had to think. Their thought process from then on was we have to make it crazier, bigger. You know,
I think that's what they wanted.
I don't think it was even bad. I think that was a good change. The special tags. I think that was a good addition to the game.
Yeah, I think
but
that's what they wanted.
From there, they had to keep going crazier though, because they also gave people new specials. Was that the birth of Vegito A and 5M?
I think it also
that shit was strong before that.
No.
It reduced a lot of like required team synergy too, where you would be really thoughtful about picking your assist because of the deficiencies characters had at that part of the screen. Right now, it's a universal answer. It's homogenized. Oh yeah, you just special tag after the special move, you get a DR knockdown.
Okay, but that's
some characters have worse specials to tag.
I would say that's my only. I think the mechanic is really cool, but my biggest issue is the characters who were already strong in top tier benefited from it way more than
that was.
The Fusions utilized that shit way better than anyone else.
I'm gonna be completely
literally better than anybody else.
I don't think it was actually the tag cancel change that was the issue. It was everything else that came with that.
No,
tag.
that's what you said. It was that season where they shot themselves in the foot.
That was the point.
No, I'm saying like it sounds like we're saying the tag cancel was the issue. No, I think that was a really good
idea. Cloud said everything.
I think we all like the mechanic, but all the other stuff that came in that patch, it's like, we took this game to a point to where we can't go back now.
Yeah,
all the other shit that we added.
They didn't
and it
balance
just kept getting better.
The special tag around all the characters. They're just like, here's the mechanic, it's cool, and all of a sudden, who would have thought the top tier characters were like, damn, this really is a great mechanic. Thanks, dude.
Well.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Christmas came early.
Yeah, and everybody else was like, yeah, I wish I could do that. Why do you get a DR?
Must be nice. Must be nice.
Yeah.
Hey, it turns out though that all you have to do to make the meta a lot more diverse is just make characters like Gotenks and Beerus top tier because no one wants to play them.
Bro, the character is broken, man.
That also comes off of popularity too. You know, like how popular characters. Like
I mean,
who? Especially for the casual audience.
There is also like Labcoat, who even at the absolute peak of her power was like trailing at the very bottom of like casual online usage.
And I would say
nobody actually wants to play this game.
Okay, no, I love Labcoat, right?
Right, that bitch is lit.
I actually think the character's sick. But here's the thing.
I'm not trying to knock it.
No.
People
people can try Labcoat all they want.
Labcoat, you're a loser.
You're a loser.
I understand all that, but I would like to offer the idea because I actually firmly believe this. The reason why a character like Labcoat, despite being as strong as she was, saw such low play even at a more casual level isn't because of anything other than the fact that despite what anybody wants to say, she was hard for like a new player to pick up. She's kind of weird. Her normals aren't the same. Like people think, oh, she's got the easiest rejump, and then they try to do the rejump and they still can't do it. Like I think, because I remember this being a conversation because when Lamika was coming out, Nitro said that she's the easiest character in the game. And while
I still stand by that.
Okay, and I understand why you would say that, right? And I think for everyone in this call, we'd probably think that she was dumb easy. She's super easy to pick up. You just do that. You spin to win, and yeah, right. But for somebody who's like brand new to fighting games or like at a lower level, I don't think that's the case. And the situation I brought up, or the argument that I made is that if you give two brand new players, UI Goku and Labco's way better even still right now than UI Goku, I'd put money on it that the UI Goku player wins more by just slamming buttons than the Labco player does.
Nah, I agree with that. I think Super Saiyan Goku is easier though.
Which lab coat are we talking about? And does this player know how to spin?
That is also true.
They just picked up the game.
Two brand new players.
Fresh installs.
Two brand new players.
Yeah.
And it could be launched Labco, and I still.
I don't know. That's by them kind of crazy.
Nah, but then they're not gonna. They're gonna win.
What's gonna happen with that is a nigga's gonna mash triangles. Labco's fight him going whiff. The other nigga's gonna be pushing square with UI Goku. He's gonna go a quarter of the screen with his auto combo, and then that nigga's gonna get yoinked.
I think anyone that has ever touched the fighting game before would do better with Labco. Like even if it's only 5 minutes of a different fighting game, would do better with Labco. But someone who's never touched the fighting game, period, would do better with UI.
No, I think there is actually some credence to what Lotus is saying, considering there are still a lot of like casual players and new players who come into the game who genuinely believe UI is still like top 3, literally just because
when you're just mashing around, that character still feels impressive.
I think another point where
I see it every week.
I would say, I think another point we're also missing is she's not actually from the series, and as a Dragon Ball fan,
I think that's what made me the most.
That is also, I think.
I don't think
my OC is so strong. My OC can do this. Like they really just took their OC and made it stronger than.
They Mary Suda into the video game.
They
actually Mary Suda into the game.
Didn't Daisuke do the same shit in Guilty Gear? Ain't Ken
that's
doing the
his
same
game.
Street Fighter? Like
that's his game. That's not even a thing. That's not even a thing.
So here's the thing. So for the general audience, when it regards to lab coat, sorry to cut you off, Insum, but
no,
like, for example, in real life, you meet another person who likes anime, Dragon Ball, whatever. I got a tattoo the other day, and I was like, yeah, so I do this, and we were talking. It was like an 8-hour session.
He just wanted to tell us that he got a
tattoo. It's actually pretty sick. But no,
the most long-winded way.
The point is, I brought up Dragon Ball Fighters, and I was like, yeah, everybody loves like the androids and everything, and I'm like, yeah, and I brought up 21. He's like, who the fuck is 21? And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And I showed him, and
that's how
like,
it is, though.
Yeah, and he was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, where is she in anything else? And I was like, not just a picture of her in the superhero movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say she just got like official with that movie.
It's a much higher chance somebody's gonna boot up their favorite fusion or UI Goku and have fun, and that's why they made those characters
like,
easy.
that is the case across every single Dragon Ball game.
No coincidence. It is no coincidence the fusions ended up being as strong as they are.
But they're broken in every Dragon Ball though.
Here's what I really like.
And it's the same shit with UI Goku. Like UI Goku was such a big moneymaker. They were like, oh, this character gotta be broken when we drop.
Nah, they did him dirt.
Nah, he was broken though.
I really do think
go on beyond and these
developers.
niggas started talking. Alright.
Let me just say, you know, I think I speak for every UI player, dude. Even at his peak, dude.
He was never the best, bro.
Yeah,
best. He was never the best.
Nah, wait.
I remember watching a Sage stream where he was trying to break this down for casuals, and everyone was just like, "You are lying." He's like,
wait.
Worst fighting game character of all time.
Wait, even EU thought.
Cheering for Sage.
I mean, EU thought he was the best.
Because EU has Jilla.
Yeah, Jilla. No. Yeah. Wawa, Yasa, Jilla, they always saying UI was the best.
Of course it was. Their overall brain power is room temperature.
I think he was very broke though.
He still did actually have flaws, whereas most top tiers that started coming afterwards, even if they were small, like most top tiers that started coming afterwards, basically did not have any, period.
Also, here's my thing, right? KJ Pixel brings up a good point in the chat, and this is obviously important to remember, is that at that time, like, we were basically exclusively stuck online. And while I do feel like the character absolutely would have been easier to deal with offline than online, the fact of the matter is that we were online. And the other fact of the matter is that every single player who won the online regional had that nigga on his team. Every single one.
That was actually kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that character was broken.
Because more people didn't want to play Gotenks.
I will
mean,
say
that is
this
true.
though,
LA
I do
based
think
gaming.
even though you can make arguments that he wasn't the strongest, I'm just gonna give him the strongest only because I feel like the way he was strong was kind of the quote unquote issue a lot of these newer characters have. He was doing it before they could do it. Just the ultra ignorance into like I'm gonna do anything I want until you can't punish me until you're gonna explode if you accidentally mess up. Like he was
Well,
one of
that
the
was-
first to start doing that.
He was a
like,
I think
pioneer.
there was
Like, hey, I
also-
have all
Yeah.
these defensive options. Then I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm just not going to block no matter what. And you
So-
can knock me down no matter how
Yo,
much you
I
try. I'm
actually
gonna
don't
do
know.
something on wake up.
You know what? You know
It was
what?
like the point.
You know what's funny because when it was Wade versus Fenris, bro, they all just fucking did delay wake up 4-frame. That's literally all he did, and we hated the game.
Honestly, you guys
honestly,
should-
I
you guys
miss
should
the
have
old
just
2 on
meeting.
4H
You
tracking.
guys should have
I
just
miss the
Nah,
old
that's fair.
EX tracking because that shit was just funny. No, it was so funny.
It was so lit.
You gotta remember, like at the end of the day, like Japan, France, all of us, right? We all have different tier lists. It's always been that way since season 1. Since the game came out,
Oh,
we've
yeah.
always
Yeah.
had differences of opinions. We always thought like this character is good. Like for example, France praises Kefla when she was quote unquote the best, but we always like, nah, she's not that good. Like she's okay.
Of course,
The
they have
character's like
brain
that.
temperature, IQ.
It doesn't even matter about the IQ
Bro.
at that point, right? It's just that we always had our differences. No matter what season it was, we always saw the game differently because we played the game
always-
different. We have different level of
Yeah.
competition.
I would say
Like
I've always found it very
Doichi's
interesting
tier
how
list
everybody
changed
can
only
find
one
values
way
different shit.
from when he fought Sage. It was so funny seeing
Yeah,
Doichi's
I-
tier list change from when he fought Sage because it was just Z Broly moving up there.
And I remember Kazunoko had that nigga Trunks top 5 because Moke was
True.
that nice. Like I was like,
Nah,
nah, son,
Who
Trunks
was-
is not
who
that
was
good.
it?
Moke
Sonic
is
had
okay.
Nappa
Dude,
like top
your,
3.
Your true downfall was when Sonic and Goichi co-signed Chunks being top tier. That was the
It
beginning
was
of your
And that
downfall,
shit was
dude.
so
It gaslit the
cap,
whole
bro.
community.
It
It
was
gaslit
so
an entire
cap.
Neither of them
community.
played him.
It was so cap. And then as every patch happens, I'm always like, yeah, y'all niggas gonna play this character, pick him up, see that 1, he's harder than a lot of other characters in this game. 2, he's not actually that nice, and y'all gonna drop him in a week. And what happened every time without fail? Exactly that.
He's been theoretically top tier.
And
almost
he's been,
feels like-
he's been literally in the trash can and on no one's team.
It almost
since
feels like
season
they've
1.
been like treading lightly with like who they wanted to buff and like whether they were really just paying attention the delicate balance of the game. But these last couple of patches, especially this last one, it was
Fuck
almost
it,
just
bruh.
like it was just like all right,
Oh,
we're just
yeah.
gonna give everyone crazy stuff.
Dude, they
Yeah.
And, like let them all cook.
Badass
It-
blunt
you-
and
you-
just threw
you-
darts
Done.
at a wall.
Because the kill
That-
stage isn't here,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna speak
You-
for him and tell him what he told me, and it made so much sense. I was complaining about the game, hating it, until he made the most sense. He said, "This character got this change because he can have fun. You had your fun with fusions. Now they get to have their fun. Everyone gets to have
Oh,
fun."
true Z.
And
So
when I
true.
really thought about it, and what is everyone's general idea about this patch? It's not that good
It's just-
competitively.
Yeah, I would also.
Yeah, it's
I would
horrible.
also think like that if I was a
We're all
ruling
having
moron.
fun.
But continue.
I mean,
I
I'm
know
a.
you said yesterday in your stream you were having fun too.
No,
so
Nah, he definitely said that too.
I said it fun casually.
He said he was in the box.
Yeah.
but it
That's-
competitively it's not
that's-
that good.
Yeah,
but
no, yeah.
At least it's pretty
It's
fun.
having fun
It almost
casually,
feels
though,
like
so.
this is
The
what
one
it
thing
feels
about
like
this
from the
game now
outside
is-
looking in.
Oh, go on.
From the outside looking in, I feel like the development, like, because from what I've heard, correct me if I'm wrong, like Arxis did the balance early on, but I heard that it's actually
Yeah.
Bandai who's doing the balancing
Yeah.
now.
The team,
I
the team
is
got.
it-
I was gonna
changed.
try
And I
to-
only bring that
it
up
was
to
for
say,
the
I only
first
bring
two
that up to
seasons.
say, I'll be quick. I only bring that up to say is I feel like historically with Dragon Ball, like this is the first competitive Dragon Ball game ever, really, like with competitive scenes. It's at Evo and stuff like that. So I bring that up to say it almost feels like the balancing team or the development team is looking at this where they're trying to like walk the tightrope of like, okay, we want it to be competitive because it's supposed to be a competitive game, but at the same time, like this is a Dragon Ball game and every Dragon Ball game is just like crazy, we want to like appeal to that audience as well. So I feel like that's why on both sides, like there's some people who are extremely casual who are like, even now they're like, oh, this game is like too much, it's too complicated. And then you have people on the other side of the spectrum who are like mad competitive, who are like, oh, this game is like, Mickey or whatever, you know what I mean? Because they're trying to like walk that tightrope, but you can't like please everyone type of thing.
Yes.
They're trying to make their money, truthfully, like from the casual standpoint. They're just making
Right.
money.
Well, I mean,
So why
they
wouldn't that cater
already
to the
made
more
money.
money?
We gotta take
Yeah,
off
they're
right now.
like,
I
they've
appreciate it, you
already
guys.
made
Cool to hang out with you guys. Cool to talk with you guys. But I gotta bounce right now. But I'll be keeping up on the stream.
No, I catch you, Dion.
Also, the one buff that Hit deserved, and I'm just gonna leave on this. The one buff that Hit deserved that he didn't get is I just wish his counter had a little bit of invincibility when it reappears. Because if I counter against Labcoat 21 doing the spin and I appear on the other side and I'm still getting hit by the spin, that pisses me off. I should be able to actually counter hit. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Goodbye.
No, deserve it.
Jake, you had something that you were about to say that I wanted to hear you finish that thought.
Yeah, it was about the balance adjustments, right? So Arc System was in charge. I believe it was for the first 2 seasons, and then
season 1 and like partway through season 2.
Yeah, and that's when Bandai got the reins. So they have been making the exclusive decisions on balance, character implementations, and everything there. So Arc System hasn't had their hands in the jar for a very long time, and that's where the game has really taken a shift and like started to develop. And that's where you started seeing the conversations happen too, where people like started stepping away from the game. Maybe they didn't like what it was.
The game I loved.
Picture of the game that they liked.
Wait, around what time, Jake?
Yeah, exactly. What happened to my?
Around what time, Jake? Sorry?
What happened to my Kid Buu? What happened to the game I love? Around what time? The end of season 2, or like mid season 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where's my cross-up ball?
Yeah, just bring cross-up ball back and leave the rest of the character alone.
You know, I'm surprised Arc System took away cross-up ball like by themselves.
I mean, it was. I feel like it was genuinely just so fucking confusing for everyone looking in. Just like, why did he get hit here?
Remember the days where the biggest and like free neutral tool was Bardock Lariat, and that was like the best thing ever in the game.
It kind of sucks.
We didn't know what we had.
I mean, they gave it back now.
We really didn't know what we had.
We didn't know what we had back then.
It was also a situation of in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, because nobody had like the neutral tools on the same level. So when there's only the one character, obviously it feels like so oppressive.
Right, and at the time, like other characters had a similar-ish move because like Blue Vegeta's been here, Team Gohan's been here, Blue Goku's been here, but Bardock's was significantly stronger in comparison. But because the game was so different back then, it made a huge difference.
I mean,
it also jailed an advantage.
I think it's
it was also
fine
-1 on block.
Yeah. I think it was fine for the most part for one character to be like that, right? It's cool. One character has that; it makes them special. But then once they started giving it to everybody. Ooh.
Yeah, it was
super.
like
it's with the uniqueness of the character.
No one's super. Yeah. They say it's everybody's a genius. Then you're just
it's interesting. It's interesting you brought up that Bardock point, right? Because like the fact that they gave him back his Larry, a lot of people that looking at the game now like, oh my god, like I miss Bardock. They removed this from the game and he has it again, and that 3 people were like, oh my god, I can play the game again. So that's also a factor.
Dude, Bardock's gonna be on
little
every
do they
team
know.
at Evo now.
That's the funny part. He absolutely will not.
The teams at Evo are gonna be the characters with the most invincible options, dude. I'm calling it now.
GT Goku, let's be real.
I think he's top 1, but that's just me.
I'm gonna keep it a side with you, Cloud. I played against GT yesterday, bro. The monitor almost got deleted.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm sorry to the discussion.
Hey, but the game fun though, right?
The game fun.
I've never had less fun.
Wait, against what character?
Fun.
GT.
Reverse Kamehamehas. It's an 11 frame Vegito 5M with invincibility. Dude, that shit is great. Oh my god.
It's so silly.
What's up, Conflict?
I just want to say, you guys remember when the entire game was supposed to be bounced around Adult Gohan, Goku Black, and Super Saiyan Goku?
Yeah, I do.
That would have been a good
golden standard, right?
Yeah.
It was supposed to be the standard for all the characters that they were trying to bring everyone like up or down to that level.
Yeah.
Everything changed when Bardock came out, and then it changed again because of Vegito.
Mind you, at the time that they said that, Adult Gohan was way stronger than the other niggas in that group, but I digress.
Yeah, they were a lot better. My man hit EX Backfish.
Even 16 was.
Yeah, 16.
Kid Buu.
16 and what Gohan were like top 2 just because
it was like
yeah.
50-50 off everything.
Yeah,
it was worse than the 50-50. This nigga 16 would command grab you mid screen, get hard knockdown, and get like high low left.
And
right.
then
he command grab plus dragon rush plus super dash plus like.
He really grabbed you and said try again.
Yeah, 5H changed everything. Remember?
Yeah, 5H just go straight through beams and shit. Man, season 1 of DBFZ was some.
Yeah, and guard cancel was bad.
Dude, yeah.
I feel like season 1 is
yeah.
also remembered fondly because we had no bloody clue what we were doing.
Well, that's another thing
at
too.
the
Like
time.
if we still had like the season 1 version of the game now or season 2 is like the shit we'd be doing to
I
each
mean,
other would be.
That game would be
People have
horrible.
gone back, like,
Yeah.
when you watch the people who go back
Bro,
to the
8
vanilla version.
Well, I mean,
Lotus
that's
18 sucked back then, bro.
Yeah. But
You
that's
said she was
where-
broken.
That's where developers have trouble with balancing issues, right? Like they look at what's strong, especially in Arx's case, and we're like, how could we
Let's buff
make
it.
it better? And then they just make they're supposed to turn left, and then they run the red light and go straight.
100%.
But it's interesting how we
I
define
still
what's
remember
strong.
Season 1.
Honestly,
Yeah, it is. I remember because
It's hard to define what's strong. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jay. Go ahead.
mixed.
Yeah, I remember at Cloud's event, you know, talking about like season 1. He had the setup with season 1, and he ran a little bracket for it. And we get to the finals, and it's me versus Fred, and he remembered every single like adult Gohan bullshit broken fuzzy.
Oh,
and
you're
I
a
was like,
loser,
wow.
Fred.
Yeah, you lost first round. You suck.
Yeah.
You lost first round.
But like the thing was, it's like now that we had the knowledge, it was like, damn, this was kind of messed up, and like there was stuff that was just really really bad, and it was like, wow, Beerus can't do supers in these situations.
Oh, I remember that.
And then like other characters were on the other spectrum.
And let's not think about the fact
18
that there
couldn't
were
do
like
command grab no
3
more?
viable assists
Yeah.
in the entire cast.
Yeah, they were all beams.
Yeah,
No,
and they
no,
were
that's
all
not true.
beams.
We had 16
First
assists,
Vegeta.
Kid Buu assists. What?
Yeah.
Those are the assists.
There was a
Yeah,
bunch of
assists
y'all
back
that
in season
actually
1.
tried to tell me Kid Buu A assist was bad because you couldn't use it in fucking neutral, like it wasn't the greatest mix-up assist in the goddamn game. I ain't never gonna let that shit go.
Who told you that?
I mean,
That's
but
bad now.
Blue down player ever.
it's okay now.
You can't combo with it and you can't use it in neutral,
No,
bro. It's not that good.
The only thing I didn't like
That was
it
before my
was
time.
you could throw it out in neutral back then because DP assists. All right, that was a fucking French kiss. Dude. On DP
You've
assists.
awoken the
Assist was a
trauma.
very cursed
You've
era.
awoken the trauma.
Y'all forgot about
Dude,
DP
I got
assists.
Oh no, I never
$1,000
forgot. No, I will never
good
forget
old
Kazunoko
days.
doing that shit to people on every fucking knockdown. No, that will never be erased from my brain ever.
But it's been a dope going still has it.
I'll never forget that.
That
and, like-
clip alone was more than enough to make that change like forever. Even if nobody else was ever using DP assist, just because Kazunoko did that, that shit was gone the next patch.
Bro,
I'm gonna be
assist,
honest though.
And then DP into Spark into another DP.
Like, if we ever look back at like games Kazunoko played back then, and like what he was doing in Dragon Ball, he just played he just
Same way.
played Dragon
Yeah.
Ball the exact same way as you play the other games.
He found the broken
Yeah.
shit in him.
Exactly.
He beat Daigo at Street Fighter 4 with just dive kick.
That's so
Like,
funny.
he's
My man- my
actually
man
the
Yon-
goat.
My man Yon with full screen EX lunge punch +1 hype.
Capcom Cup champion.
That's not hype.
Capcom champion. He's the goat. He's the goat.
That's why he's the goat.
That's why.
I mean, he did gatekeep how many Dragon Balls?
He got 4.
Four?
He
Yeah,
got
four.
four.
He got four.
Best,
Just
the best
Yeah.
LCQ in history.
They,
I
he
can't
had it.
believe it.
Terrible.
Changed the rules because of him.
Yeah.
That was next level dominant. He made Tyler Talon cry, bro.
He's one of the most influential Dragon Ball players
Flip
if you think
titties.
about it.
No,
DP
absolutely.
assist,
100%.
Dragon, like
Yeah.
the Dragon Ball collection.
Without him, we would have never gotten Apology Man losing to Aqua 4 times in a row.
Damn pain.
That-
What?
yo,
Why would we want
Kazunoko's
that?
greatest hits featuring
Bro,
Apology Man.
the
Valid.
season 1 LCQs were truly something special.
Nah, run it back, bro.
You
I need
know
it.
One that ran back, bro.
One of Apology Man.
Nakio
Right.
right. Cooking and then losing to like
No,
level
Fred's
3.
right. No more participation trophies, dude.
Yeah, run
Kinda
that.
spitting.
Run
You
that
know
shit
what? Let
back.
him cook. I'm not gonna be involved in it,
You
so
win
let
the
him cook.
event, dude, or good luck at the LCQ.
Nah, I was there for the season 1 LCQ. That shit was fun.
You
Until-
got washed.
Yeah.
Bro, I actually beat Moke and then I dropped level 1, level 3 with Yamcha. And then he real yes. Right, he real I saw his soul leave his body and then he just jumped up when I dropped my level 3 and he killed me.
Goodness, Fred. Bro.
Alright, so hold on. I want to ask everyone in the call, and we'll go down the list. Do you see yourself continuing to play the game for any significant amount of time. Like whether
I'm so glad you asked, cause in 100 subs.
Anyway, so I'm saying, like, Cloud, do you see yourself continuing to play the game for a while?
I'll give you two answers for that, right? The first answer is going to be the competitive aspect. Not so much the competitive aspect, right? As you all notice, taking a seat back, right? Because traveling's super expensive and the netcode sucks. But content creation side, yeah, dude, I've been popping off lately with like all the new changes, man.
Now, speaking of content creation, the boss battle's ready.
I'm down.
Ooh.
But yeah, so when it comes to like,
I'm
to
down.
give you like the final answer for it is like, Dragon Ball's never been in a better place for content creation, right? Everybody's characters is sick nasty, you know, like if there's like, I want to play Marvel, mom. We have Marvel at home. That's basically what Dragon Ball is now. There's a bunch of crazy shit in the game. Everyone's having a good time, except the Yamcha players. But who cares about them?
You don't think Yamcha's gonna get spot?
No, he is not.
Shut up, Zane. Yamcha's chilling.
I mean, I don't think he's like top tier or anything like that. You think he still needs significantly more help? Because I think there was.
They didn't bring back They didn't bring back all the X Wolfang Fist, dude.
They need to fix
That's all I gotta
they
say.
do everything they've ever taken from him just to have him be viable.
All right, what about yourself, Daniel? I have a feeling that you're still gonna be playing the game.
I think right now it's definitely worth continuing playing the game in terms like what Cloud was saying for content. I think the game is the best it's ever been for content current. I mean, since like the first year for sure. But I think currently, if you want to play this game for content, for fun, I think it's the best time to do it. Even as I said earlier, like competitively is not the greatest. I think I'll still travel for the game, just for the simple fact that, like I said earlier as well, there's more people playing the game at a casual level, so there's more people popping out to tournaments because of that. So I think that it's still overall a fun game. So yeah, I'll continue playing.
What about yourself, Enzo? I know we've exchanged a lot of words about this game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Between each other.
He said for sure.
I'm still kind of on the same type of timing where, like, competitively, I do still want to play for the World Tour, so for however long that lasts, or my attempt to get there at this point. But if not, then kind of no. For me at least, it's still also unfortunate that I feel like a lot of players also share the same sentiment of like not really wanting to continue competitively. And as a competitive player, that also kills my vibe a lot, because if I don't want to fight the players that, in my opinion, are like extremely challenging, or like the players that I wanted to beat, right? It's just not as fun anymore. But casually, yeah, the game is extremely fun, or as much as it's gonna be. I'll say that. As much as it's gonna be.
Jake, are you back yet?
Yeah, I'm here. I would say like the last season for Dragon Ball was it was really fun for me because I got to see like how far I could push myself competitively. It's like only like in tournament, really only losing to the three strongest New Yorkers in the call right here.
Yeah,
it was
let them boys know that's top 8 Jake right there. Talk to
Dude.
him, commentator out there. Let him know.
I always said it about Jake too. I was like, he made a lot of improvements.
Did I just get called a New Yorker?
No, sorry, Enzum, you're East Coast. My bad. I just lumped you together.
Everyone on the East Coast is
Wait,
New
you're
York.
not?
East Coast is New York now. You're New York or
Everybody,
nothing.
like so many mad niggas, and I don't, maybe it's the way I talk or something. I don't think I sound like I'm from there, but so many people assume I'm from New York as well. I don't know if it's just because I associate with you niggas or if it's something about the way I talk or what, but that's where.
Or it's because you're black. Could be that.
Hey, yo.
I'm just saying.
I was like a 9.
I'm just saying.
Jake,
That's probably what people
continue.
think.
Yeah. But like that was what was super cool, and it totes back to Enzem's point where it's like if the strongest players aren't competing, it really takes away that drive. And I've really like just from being completely transparent, I love Street Fighter, and 6 has been like super fun for me. It's clicked, it plays fast, it can play slow, and I just love it. And I've been commentating more of it and playing with it. I still think that like once Rollback comes back, I want to give it another try, but I cannot play online. I literally like cannot make myself do it after I've had good netcode where I can play everybody in the United States with Street Fighter. It just doesn't feel good. Offline,
I can't imagine you're alone in that sentiment.
Yeah, like offline, I'll still go. Like my boy Justin down the street is hosting locals, the Hyperbolic Justin Chamber, so that SoCal can still get practice.
Can I think of a better name?
Nah, that's
I got robbed from the Mario Party match.
And like as a commentator, it's like for spectators it's great. I get to make these moments exciting and see like how far people can go, because for the first time in a long time I have questions about what's going on the screen. I'm like, how long does this combo go? What is the mix up coming from here? Why is Nappa whiffing 2H 4 times in a combo? Like everything it's like exciting, and you can bring that excitement to the viewer, and it makes my job easier, I would say. But it's discouraging seeing like all my friends either go on to a different game or just stop competing altogether. So
First time.
But Jake, do you think this gives
First
birth?
time.
First
Wait,
time is crazy.
for Jake, Jake, do you think that this will give birth to new players overall, new players that might be better than our current best players?
I would say it's all subjective, because if you drop those new players who are better at this patch and do a previous patch, it's like you can't compare it. Like if I'm looking at like Nitro performing last season versus like we'll just call him Weed Goku 69 420. Like
Oh, I know that guy.
Nah,
Yeah,
I've
exactly.
I already booked it, bro. Evo 2024 grand final is gonna be Hikari versus Garlic Bread. That's already what it is.
Oh,
That's hype.
That
That's
kid's the
hype.
future, bro. He's so
Yeah, that's
good.
hype.
Like this
Yeah,
patch
no.
was made for him.
Yeah, but
think-
also
I
like
think
I think
the
the touch on
question-
that. Oh, you can go
Sorry.
first, Raptor.
All right. Well, I was just gonna say the question of like, do you think new players are gonna end up anywhere near the like skill level of the ones that we've been seeing? I think, honestly, the brutal truth is probably not, because look at the online environment they have to play in currently.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
do
If
want
it
to.
was
I
better, I would
definitely
honestly think. I would
I
honestly
definitely
think,
want to
yeah.
talk about the rollback. That's something that we all have input on and something that we
Yeah.
wanted. So that's gonna be the follow up once I can finish coming down the line and hearing what everyone wants to say about whether they're gonna continue playing or not. But you have something you want to chime in with real quick?
I was gonna say, just to interject, right? Like we have a living, breathing statistic of old players leaving and then new players being birthed, right? Or like the players who are now placing higher because the old players are gone. Look at Marvel 3, right?
Mhm.
All the old guards stopped playing. You know, like me, Justin, F Champ, right? Like Chris G,
Ryan
like
LV.
right. We all stopped playing, and those other guys, you
Liberal
know,
Terminator.
yeah, right.
There's-
Liberal Terminator pulled up, right? You have like Jabril winning everything, right? Won Evo, congrats to them, right? But like
Shouts out Jabril.
the
He
question, well, the people always hanging over their head, like, yeah, well,
You'll never
you
be
didn't
as good as
hang-
them.
Exactly,
That,
right?
that's a whole other conversation I want to have about new players versus old players and like the skill difference between them, and that's something else I think that we can follow up with in this conversation, because I think it is an interesting one. I think it's one that like the viewers would enjoy as well, as like our Nitro and Pred as good as fucking Sage and Sonic were back in season 1. We'll talk about that in a bit. I think that'll be a fun discussion. But that
Molly
being
walked
said-
him 3 years ago.
Anyway, that being said, Fred, do you see yourself continuing to play the game?
I think I'm gonna play for fun. I think I'll go to tournaments that are like around, like locally. I'll go to one, and I think I'll probably travel to the one event, but not really for Dragon Ball. But
Fucker doesn't even go to his own local.
yeah, this is true because I don't like Dragon Ball right now. But I like Team Gohan, so like right now I'll see if I'll play the game. But I think right now I might move on to Street Fighter.
Gotcha. What about yourself, Nitro?
I play Strive.
Show. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
You won Dragon Ball. What?
Thank you.
And yourself, Raptor. I presume, especially for you, it's
Well,
very dependent on
Yeah,
the
I was gonna
rollback
say.
situation.
First things first. I'm fucking
Red.
Australian, so competing wise, like to put into context as well. When I went to Worlds, like however many years into the game's life, that was my first time playing international players.
Right.
Because it's fucking impossible to
Me and
get out
Raptor
of this
played like
country
5 sets.
or play. Yeah, and it was man, because it was like, hey, don't worry, we're getting rollback, right? Don't worry. I'll
was
play
sitting here
everyone
like-
then. I'll play everyone then.
I was sitting here like,
I'm-
Raptor, this is your only chance.
Damn. But I mean, it'd be like that.
listen, man, listen. There were a couple people at that event that I had to play. Like, Acoustics called me the YouTuber, so I had to go and level 7 each of his characters individually.
No, now my
The whole thing were like,
Listen, man, it had to be done.
niggas be quick to throw out that
It had
YouTuber
to
word,
be
and then
done.
you have to humble people real quick. Cause I done had that.
Exactly.
shit
You made
happen
it sound
before.
like a
Hey, granted,
slur.
I'm not even that. No, because like I'm not that nice, but because I'm a YouTuber, niggas would think shit was sweet, and so I done had niggas like try to be like, oh, he not that nice. He just a YouTuber, and like I'm not that nice, but I'm better than you, nigga. Like
Ooh.
Oh.
I'm just saying.
One thing
I
that-
had to do that. I had to do
Respect
that a couple of times.
Respect your.
It's one of those things,
like,
though, right, Lotus, where
You gotta let
where
'em know.
people see you and they look at you because they're a content creator initially, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
But they don't know that you actually, I'm out here. I can play this game for real. But a lot of the times they don't respect players like you or even commentators for that matter.
Yeah,
Like,
I would
it's
get that
very
shit
hard.
Bro, Jake is out here making top 8s and niggas still.
He's a commentator.
People be in my chat disrespecting J.O.D. I be like,
what are you talking about?
It's wild because they would always be talking shit in chat, and it's like, I have a Shenron list, and most of your favorite players are on it, right? Like,
I was gonna say, no. I want to be real for a second, right? Like Jake, for example, when the whole player tier list I was making, when I was trying to put you at the top, he was like, nah, he's just a commentator, he's not really good. I was like, yo, have you seen his performances? He's being some of your favorite players. He's top 8, multiple majors, multiple tournaments in a row. How can you discredit him? He's like, oh, but he's just a commentator. I was like, no, just because you're a commentator doesn't mean that you can't play the game. Saying is just corny to me when people say that.
I was offending you like you were Jesus said I was the church.
It's too corny to I really don't like that when people discredit players because they're a commentator or a content creator or a YouTuber. That's corny.
Stupid.
I'm sure there's a whole bunch of times where someone sits down next to Jake to play and be like, oh, I saw this bloke at the desk like 20 minutes ago. This will be free. This will be free.
Then they get fucking bodied.
And then
they got auto comboed from 3/4 of the stream away. I'm like, oh well, I'll turn it.
All right. But
sorry, back on. Back on topic. Yeah, no, it was just like I absolutely do want to continue playing because honestly, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm like morbidly curious how this game's gonna turn out competitively, and I want to be there for it, and I want to try and do whatever I can because it's like, man. Like they removed the regional placings as well for Worlds, so it's like.
They don't like you.
Just to qualify, I would be spending more on flights.
Yeah, move idiot.
Then I would be winning from like grand finals. If I come through and I just win the whole thing, I would not even be breaking even that it would cost the flights to get there just to qualify.
That's so funny.
I do want to keep like playing this game. I love the shit out of this game, but it's like I live in Australia. And there's no rollback, so
feels Jace, man.
That's space Australia. It's fucking different. Anyway,
go Space Broncos.
What about yourself?
Hell yeah!
Continuing to play the game, and I know that like I've heard a decent amount, not from like directly, but seeing like you and OB talk or like be in Twitch chats or like see you guys play, and again, like the sentiment continues like competitively. I don't know, but casually, do you see yourself continue to still play the game at all?
So competitively, I can say UFA is gonna be my last tournament for the foreseeable future, and it's honestly not necessarily due to the patch. It's more because I have zero motivation to lab the game because I can't play the game. Every time when I hop onto an online match, doesn't matter if I'm fighting against a top player who's only 30 minutes away from me, it's always laggy, and that kills my vibe with the game. So therefore, I don't have the motivation to play.
I want to ask this like as the follow for everybody, but since that's your reasoning, I want to ask you specifically right here. Then, so if let's say Rollback were to come out next week, would that change it for you? Would that increase your motivation to be like, yeah, I'm gonna keep grinding this game. I'm gonna keep playing it.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Yes, like.
I have an offline scene, so it wouldn't really change too much.
Must be nice.
But see, and that's the difference between obviously like
for sure,
like all the Americans in the call versus like Raptor or like Seihan or like even
I'm just saying from my point of view.
New Yorkers.
I'm just saying from my point of view, it's like
I feel you, but
on whether or not it would change anything, it wouldn't change anything because like I just be like, hey Posey, you wanna go play, and then he'd be like, yeah, Buzzin', I'd love to go play. Bring the demons to the house.
Absolutely, my heart.
My heart.
Through my heart.
Yep.
We can play as much as you want, Nitro.
Exactly. But yeah, that's the truth though, Nitro. Like we're just privileged being in New York.
For sure.
We're all like
I agree,
15 minutes away from each other. Like, yo, Nitro, what you doing today? You want to play? Yeah, sure, whatever.
My local scene is an 8-hour drive away.
Daniel be on his hands and knees. He'd be like, "Please come over, bro. I need content."
Talking about the local scene too. It's like, yes, everybody in New York is like 15 minutes away from each other, and it's wonderful. We've had an issue in SoCal where it's like we're so spread out, and even though we have like a good chunk of players that play online, we talk through Discord.
California big as fuck for no
California's
reason.
big as hell, and it's like. It's always asking for the locals. It's like I try to host them, get them put together and everything, and then it's like 8 people will show up or like 11 people will show up because everything's so far, and it becomes it's discouraging at a point. So it's
SoCal is so mixed up at this point that like from like me to Jake's it's like 25 minutes for me, but then for someone like Garlic it's like 2 hours.
Jeez.
So even though we're all by car. So that way we're all even though we're all in SoCal there, like a language even further. So from Garlic, so like if we were going like to Electric, for instance, Garlic would be driving like 3 hours, or if you're very lucky like Varia, who can't get on the train very well, can't get any luck with public transportation, it takes them even longer than that. So it's not exactly, even though we're all technically in the same area, and so with us being in SoCal, it's the local scene is very spread out.
Yeah, that definitely sucked.
What about yourself, Wade? Do you see yourself continuing to grind the game?
I'm gonna say yes because I'm a crackhead and I love that game way too much. So,
So there's a couple of things I want to ask you and Seihan specifically, because I feel like you guys have interesting perspectives with being in Europe, and obviously Raptor has one as well, being in Australia.
Mostly French.
Well, yeah, but I just say, like, obviously, like, I interact and speak a lot more with the American players than I do with, obviously, the French guys, or I believe Seihan, you're from Germany, if I remember correct, right? And so we'll get that in just a moment, but before I do, that's fine. Say, yeah, I'm a crackhead, so I'm gonna keep playing. And what about yourself, Zane?
At the moment, the plan is probably similar to many others. I'll keep playing it somewhat, but the plan is probably to go find a different game to be my main game, and then I'll just enter Dragon Ball kind of as a secondary, whichever tournament I enter.
I got you. Okay, so then my follow-up to all of this is, and we kind of already touched on it a bit, so I already know some of your answers, but I just want to go down the line and just get a yes or a no. If rollback is implemented anytime soon, or even just at all at this point, does that increase your motivation to play the game, Cloud?
Yes.
No, he said Cloud.
By the way,
He did.
Okay, I'm not bugging, right? I'm like, did I hear different names?
Did Cloud know?
Cloud's on the bathroom break.
Oh,
He's in the bathroom. He's on the bot.
He always is. It's Cloud.
We'll come back. Daniel?
Yeah, it'll increase my motivation, but at the same time, it's kind of like we were saying right before this. If I want to play the best players, I can be like, "Yo, Nitro, pull up." So it's a little bit more biased.
A phone call away, like,
yeah, but I guess for like people that I want to play that are, I guess, West Coast or even in other countries, yeah, it'll be fun to play them. Like, I want to play Wade and casuals for vibes. Yeah, that'll be nice.
I agree with that.
I don't like you, bro.
Honestly,
what is happening?
My fault. You just got shot. That's all. Bro, just set your ass to the next dimension.
Wait, I would expose you right now. Don't do this.
I think we all have dirt on each other. I don't know if you really want to.
What do y'all mean by that?
Never mind, JK. Where do you my bestie?
Anyway, what about you, Enzo? Would rollback change like your perspective, or like make you want to grind the game a lot more, or have you more motivated to keep playing?
Yeah, because I can start harassing Zane and like wait for games. They won't be able to say no.
That's
They could say
That's
no,
OD.
but
What about yourself, Jake?
I think I'm in the same position, right? Because, like, right now with the netcode, it is a 50-50 chance that I can play Zane and it's a playable connection. And we live 20 minutes away from each other. That's
so rough.
That shit's unacceptable.
That is so
like,
funny.
All right. I mean, you know, my problem when I'm into Zane is, Zane, have you?
You're not gonna come late and then interrupt the conversation. Shut up.
Zane, have you?
nigga smacking him, little boy.
Have you updated your PC?
Cloud is no longer allowed to complain about my PC, and Sage is no longer allowed to destroy it. I got a brand new one that just came out last night.
Wait, does that mean he can destroy? Wait, can he just destroy the old one now?
It's technically just sitting behind me doing nothing right now.
Oh yeah, hand it over at Evo.
Sage probably already has dibs after the 30 or 40 or 50 times he's mentioned the idea of taking a hammer to it. So,
respectfully.
Continue, Cloud, and then I'll finish my point.
Well, I don't even know what this question at hand was. I just came in and interject.
Rollback.
What?
Rollback.
I hate
in here. I just came back. I'm gonna go grab an Oreo.
It was just rollback motivate you more to keep playing.
Oh, yeah, because I actually
a singular Oreo.
Yes.
No bad.
Is it the yellow one or the black?
It's double stuffed. But
Okay.
yeah, rollback would be as sweet as a double stuffed Oreo, right? Because I'd be able to play people without worrying about connection if they handle it correctly.
Fair enough.
Which is Bandai, so they won't.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's very if.
I like I think for the competitive scene, if they release rollback and it's bad, oh no, it's over, bro.
over.
It's
Oh,
so
it's
over.
As the
Jover.
kids say, it's Jover. As the kids say.
Yeah, yeah.
Yo, it's
Oh,
Jover,
Jover,
bros.
That would
Yeah,
be,
well,
honestly,
if it's good,
Jake, that would be
like,
the final nail in the coffin, to be honest.
yeah, if
Yeah.
it's good, it's like, dang, I can play everybody on the East Coast. I can play people in Texas, like that's
Japan.
You can actually play the
Plan.
video game. It's
Yeah.
fucking crazy what
And
happens when you can, right?
because I can't
shit.
like it doesn't feel good to play online, especially with the new patch where it's like everybody's got a 4-frame reversal.
Yeah.
Let's deal with this,
Nah, how
and
am I
there's a
supposed to-
4-frame delay. Everything's
already-
invincible, baby.
It's already hard enough to meaty somebody as it is offline. Now you gotta do it
Yeah.
online.
I want to scream internally, dude, when it's just bouncing between like 2 to 4 frames and it just spikes and like everything just falls apart. I guess
Because
my
1 to 2 frames literally is like it makes the difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Right there and then, yeah.
I'm
Stand
not
up,
gonna
yep,
lie,
and-
the netcode is such a big thing too, because there's been so many times where I've like literally wanted to stream, and then I'll be in like Nitro stream watching him, and I would just see him getting trolled by like a time stone, and I'm just like, I don't want to
The
stream anymore.
time stone is
I
so
was-
insane.
I was actually at one point collecting clips to make like a video complaining about it, but my folder got too full that I feel like it would just not be a fun video. It would not be a fun video. So I
And
just
eventually get
scrapped
old,
the whole
right?
thing. Yeah, it would get old because it's all the same thing. Where like the game stops, I drop an input, he super dashes at me, and I die. That is the clip
Bro, I feel
times
that so
100.
much.
I had like 100 of those.
Yeah, you know what's bad when I've got a more consistent and basically similar connection against Seihan playing Street Fighter than I do with Jake playing Dragon Ball.
Bro, me and Jake got to play Street Fighter in the beta, and I was like, wow.
This is good. This is wonderful.
This is good.
It really doesn't hit home
It's
until you like
incredible, actually.
do something that you couldn't do before. It's just like I'm playing somebody from West Coast, and I did like when I'm playing like the few times I did play Street Fighter, I didn't even like realize I'm online sometimes. Like it's not even an afterthought anymore. Actually, it's like until you're done playing, you're just like, wait a minute. I was just playing online.
He's
I
like,
get on
"Oh,
Dragon
the
Ball.
lobby."
It's just, and then it hits me. And I'm like, wait a minute.
I'm playing online.
You think it creates an opportunity to have more friends? To have more friends overall?
For sure.
Oh,
for sure.
because I mean, it's you are able to connect people like crazy, like never before, where you can have a community of players from literally anywhere on the globe, and
Bro.
you can just all be playing and practicing and improving.
My first
I think
interaction.
it would definitely strengthen relationships, I would say, as well.
No,
Like,
no,
like,
100%. Like, my first interaction with Leffen was on Strive. We played a set. We played a tournament set for this team battle, and it was just like that. That was my first interaction, and we cannot get that on Dragon Ball.
My condolences.
I think that's really good, right? Because even people like Seihan, I've met Seihan at the World Tours, but it would be nice to be able to play Seihan for real in a game with Rollback. It'll create like that bond, like, oh, like now I can
Man,
actually talk to you.
Everyone's saying they're like, oh yeah, this patch is great for content. I'm like, nah, the patch that's gonna be great for fucking content is when niggas can actually play the goddamn game together when the rollback release.
I agree with that.
I'm still waiting to fight Lotus because even though you were at Evo, because I'd never been to Evo before, we were both on the,
I've
like
been
the
to like
notion
6
that it was
tournaments where I'm
gonna be
supposed to play with
open.
Jake, and we've
the
never
last day.
gotten a chance.
That
Bro,
is so funny.
yeah, we never overlap. I'm like, oh, Lotus isn't here, and then I'm in a commentator block, and I see Lotus out there, and I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, you do be grinding. But yeah, they really pulled the rug out from under me at Evo last year when I was like, oh yeah, I was making all these plans. So like, I'm gonna buy this tomorrow. I'm gonna goddamn, I'm gonna be playing with Raptor. I'm gonna play with
Yeah.
And then that shit was closed.
You
I was
don't.
like,
Yeah, you
what
don't
the
know.
fuck?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
No,
They
like
did me
this
too, bro.
year I knew, but last year I didn't know. However, apparently
Oh.
next year it's gonna be like that
Yeah,
where
but-
it actually is open, but I don't know if I'm gonna be there next year.
There was
There's
a constant
no
stream of
way.
people. There was a constant stream of people thinking the same thing we did, and
Yeah.
we
I was
had
one
to
of them.
turn them away because they didn't know.
Yeah.
Dude, there's no way Evo's gonna be open on Sunday. It's gonna be Thursday, Friday, Saturday because Sunday would impact their arena tickets.
That is also true.
Well, whatever the case is, there's going to be a third day. They made an announcement. I forget what it was exactly. I don't
If
think
it's
I
a day
actually
before, I'm with
Yeah,
that.
they, yeah,
dude, like-
they had said it's now going to be 3 days and it's going to be at a different new location.
Well, yeah,
Whatever
I
the
kn-
case is, just
Yeah.
having that third day, I think, makes a big difference because it just
Get
feels
ready
like
for Evo Australia.
you're trying so hard to like
I
cram
would
so much
lose
stuff
my
into,
mind.
into those first 2 days, and it's just
I've
Yeah,
seen
with-
those
yeah, with- yeah,
spiders.
no.
Now you all know how, like, you'd all know how it feels to fucking travel to this country.
And we're not traveling to Australia.
I promise you.
I would just
Nah, they did have that one tournament that was out there because I remember the first time I got to see Raptor play.
Oh, yeah, no,
and there was like all of a sudden it was like, yo, it's the Australia hit player. Yo, I think he ended up making like top 16.
I'm telling you,
That's why they've never done another one since.
Yeah,
because nobody wanted to.
It was just that one
Nobody wanted
season
to
where
try
everyone
that.
was like, I will never make that trip again. And I was
I'm
like, damn, it's like,
never going to Australia again.
Again, you never went.
Wait, you
You don't know that?
No, he never went.
You don't know
Let me
that.
see your passport right now. What a stamp at?
I don't collect.
Still remember. I remember Lord Knight, like
Mhm.
with Lord Knight during that trip. Actually, Lord Knight apparently had a great time because he stayed an extra 2 days
Of
just
course,
to
he
get
didn't, he didn't
shit-faced.
see a spider.
That too, but he stayed. He might have. He probably just doesn't remember because he spent the 2 days getting just totally shit faced.
Oh,
Sounds
that would
about
do
okay.
it.
Which is like,
That's okay.
yeah, the Australian pastime.
I bet
What
you,
the hell's Russia?
I bet you if people looked at my passport, it would look weird the fact that I didn't leave the country for like several years. The next thing, and they know on my
France.
passport, on my passports over an 11-month period, I went to France 3 times.
That is
Yeah,
kind of
I feel the exact same way. I'm just like, what am I doing here?
I bet that looks weird as hell.
They always look at my passport weird, just like, yeah, you been to France?
And
Sure.
I actually have a question for everyone then.
Go on.
If we were to get rollback, would that diminish the offline play?
So that's an interesting
I-
discourse that I've been seeing in general.
I
on
probably
Twitter
wouldn't have to
lately.
talk to you anymore, so hopefully.
I
So
still feel like.
I
I
am
still feel
of
like
the
because.
opinion-
Oh, sorry.
No, you can go.
Alright, well, I was just gonna say, like, it helps because you are able to bring more people into the game, and it's easier to get serious about the game when the online isn't just a complete circus show.
Shut up, did you?
So you can actually get people who want to continue to, like, improve at the game and then get competitive, which will then feed into an offline scene.
Yeah, I want to move
I
on.
have
Just I don't want that.
terrible news for you, Raptor. All offline events are dying. CO lost
Yeah.
money last year.
Doesn't he lose money every year?
Really?
I
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
it going both ways. I do think that obviously there's a combination of factors that led up to this, but a lot of events are dying and some are legitimately dead. Like there are several like regionals and even in other events that we've lost in the last few years,
West
you know.
Coast
There's-
has
there-
nothing.
I would say there's no NCR.
We got-
Does
we got
West Coast have
NCR,
anything to
and
offer?
that's it.
You know
Hey, we
what
got
I'm saying?
festival fights, baby.
Bro, I
Take-
remember really looking forward
take
to
it.
fucking
That's a
NorCal and
local.
SoCal regionals and shit. I remember in season 1 seeing fucking Tatsu beat Moke and losing my fucking mind at that region. I was like, yo, what? Like this
Yo,
nigga nice,
Tatsu?
bro.
Like,
Like
what can you do when, like, how do you beat the comfort of your own home? Like, why would I want to
And-
travel,
exactly.
spend $500,
that's my
$600?
thing. While I feel that obviously good netcode will encourage people to practice more and be more motivated, and then as a byproduct, like, all right, well, now I want to go test my skills at an event. I ain't got to practice, whatever. I'm about to go to a tournament. Simultaneously, it's a lot of niggas because I feel like a lot of niggas is just lazy. They'll be like, "Fuck, I need to leave the crib for. I need to play online." You know what I'm saying?
It's not even a lazy factor though, right, Lotus? Because like, why do I really want to spend $600 to play when I can just play online and it's the
Right.
same the same result? And it's like this time like
And
I'm in my
I can
clothes, I'm
attest
at
to that.
home, whatever.
I can attest to that because even as a nigga who like, I'm not like a tournament player. I'm not like super. I mean, I play in tournaments. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a top level competitive player, right? But as a content creator, I'd be at some of these events. I'm like, I can't really be home restreaming this and watching this shit right now. You know what I'm saying?
it's true.
Even though I'm having fun while I'm there, you know what I'm saying? It's like one of the biggest draws is like I get to play this shit offline with niggas. You know what I'm saying? And then also, you know, the events is cool. You know, you get to shop the artist island and stuff like that, see people in person. You know, that's a whole vibe in and of itself. That's all well and good. But it's like as somebody who already goes to events, sometimes I'm like, I could low key be back at the crib though. I can see a plenty of people who's like, nigga, what I need to go to this tournament for? Nigga, we got rollback. Like, I'm gonna just play online. It's the same shit.
I think it really ties back to the community piece of it too, because one of the times I was most motivated to go to tournaments is when every week I was going to Wednesday night fights. You're playing against some of the best players. Super Noon, Subatomic Sabers, Kuba at the time, Reynold, like at the peak of the game, and it's you want to show up.
All right, Jake, Enzo, you're echoing. Sorry.
That one
you're
time
echoing.
Leffen popped out.
Yeah,
Like
and
this season
then
one.
yeah, exactly,
Right,
and like Leffen showed up, played at the tournament, and like I had that kind of a resurgence too with the last season because it was myself, Zane, Garlic Bread, Alekovic, and all of us like going to these tournaments and training, and that's what does it for me. So I think again, rollback, I think that would make it even better because it's like okay, now we're all practicing again, and it's good practice. We want to go out and and actually play at this event. So I think it would be a good thing because it kind of replicates that feeling that's now lost, because not only have we lost these regionals, we've lost a lot of our locals.
So two things that I want to say actually is the only problem with obviously the doing tournaments on rollback, especially like the big ones, right? That let's be honest, still the FTC, we don't have most people don't have good equipment, right? And people have bumped into that a lot, like just a bad PC, bad connection, or just like something happens that day just causes their internet to blow up for some reason.
Not a word cloud.
That sounded personal.
Nah, we've all been there.
You know, like what if I had to play Zayn on Street Fighter his little PC? I did, it didn't work. But continue on. Another thing is that, like, if you guys ever noticed, the big online tournaments that have happened recently haven't had as much viewership as the offline tournament.
I've definitely taken notice of that, and I wonder how much of that is because there's such an oversaturation of it now. With rollback netcode obviously becoming the standard in so many games, and every new fighting game that's coming out releasing with it, we're seeing an increasing amount of online weeklies and, like, I guess what you want to call online majors. And we've been seeing something like Capcom Cup have a lot of its tour actually being hosted online, and it just feels like there's oversaturation of this influx of all these events, and it's like causing somewhat of a burnout. Two, it's difficult for not only players, but obviously viewers and spectators to keep up with everything. And there's so many different events going on that it's hard to keep up, and like you either get exhausted of playing or exhausted of watching. And I'm wondering how much of that is actually a detriment to the scene. And I don't know, it's weird. I think it's an interesting conversation, but I don't know how both online events and offline events manage to coincide together and then entice people and convince them that it's worth doing one or the other, or like how offline events are going to continue to thrive or even to break even, because obviously, as we know, like some of them are losing money, and that's why some of them have died off. And incentivize, I don't know, advertisers to invest in them and feel like it's worth it, and to believe in esports and FTC, and incentivize players to come out and make them feel like it's worth their while and worth obviously all the expensive costs of travel and lodging and then food while you're there. And then obviously you don't want to have some fun, so you don't want to shop a little bit if you like most people, because I know I can't go to the artist alley without buying a fucking keychain or some shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and then when it comes to like the online,
there has to be an incentive.
Yeah, but it's like,
it has to be an incentive.
What is the incentive? How do you do that? I don't know. I don't have the
more money in the tournaments, really. Like if you look at Evo, for example, it is what, 20K for first place.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, how do you incentivize advertisers to contribute to that and invest in it, make it feel like it's worth them giving money to sponsor the events and shit like that? You know what I'm saying?
To counteract that too, and about the money, and I like looking at the numbers for BBB versus the Street Fighter event that Bum ran. It's like, even with the money behind it, sometimes the people just don't show up, and it's like really frustrating. It's like, damn,
$18,000, $18K,
yeah, and that wasn't enough to get more people to go. And it's
and that's what I was.
It was a great event. It like the venue was
spectacular.
Good. All these things,
yeah.
And it's like, even when he put that much in, people still didn't show up, and it's like,
my house is more comfortable, Jay.
Right?
I like being at my home playing.
See, the way I see it
some
is
people just can't afford it.
The future, I feel like the future way is going to be like, look at these other esport games, right? Look at like Apex Legends, right? They got ALGS finals this happening this weekend, right? It's criminal crop, $2 million pop prize, right? That people qualified through a bunch of online qualifiers, right? So I could see the future of the next fighting games, right? Or just how the direction it's going to go to is you go qualify online, and then you go to an offline finale, right? You spent all this time, you invested it, all this time to go make however much they're gonna have in the pop bonus, input by whether, let's just say hypothetically, TNS, right? Maybe, can opener series, right? Or like that, we once did for Dragon Ball, me and Rec and Co. That's a huge incentive for people, right? Like, oh, I spent all this time practicing, got my points, and now I gotta travel somewhere in a enclosed space area with other people, other high-level players that also grinded and put in all the effort and have a good time without. And don't get me wrong, offline events are great, but like just the time period of, as at least a competitor aspect, right? It's like having to sit down, wait an hour or two to play your game, right? Just stuck in the venue, not being able to do everything, can be very off-putting for competitors, right? And if every competitor is like, oh, I don't want to travel, right? That also impacts viewership. Without the competitors, the high-level ones, you're not gonna have the viewers. You see where I'm going with this?
Right.
Yeah. Although I will say this, I think one of the reasons why the offline still get a lot more viewers than most onlines. Is that even with Rollback, a lot of online tournaments do tend to at least relatively be regional based, like NA tournaments or NA tournaments, Europe tournaments, even for Street Fighter for a lot of the time. So when people actually go to these offlines, and it's to the point where people from Europe flew here, or NA flew here, or Japan flew here, more people watch those because people get more interest, I think, in who's the best when everyone gets the chance to fight each other.
They're also promoted a lot more.
Yeah, but those are so.
That too.
They're so far and few between, though, right? There's like maybe 3 tournaments, 4 that attract international competition. Everything else is kind of just hung out to dry, right? Like UFA is what, next weekend? 2 weeks from now?
No, Thanksgiving.
2 months.
When? 2 months? Oh shit.
2 months.
Well,
2 months.
my point is still gonna stand that like
Otaku's in 2
you're
weeks.
gonna have, you know, you're not really gonna have people. Who here is anybody here going to UFA? From NA?
If I get hired.
So okay, it'd be for work.
I would have if it wasn't a holiday.
Yeah, maybe.
I totally made traveling another 46 hours to get there.
Nitro, you going?
Right.
100%.
So that's like the big issue too. You know, if we just comes back to travel, money, time. You know, not everybody has the time for that. And if these TOs want to keep their events going, they're gonna have to probably double the price they charge already, and people are gonna be like, "Well, I already paid like $150 to go to Evo. Now it's 300 plus everything else." You know.
It's like a double-edged sword at that point, no, Club?
Come again?
It's more like a double-edged sword at that point for the players and the TOs, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but TOs, if they just run online events from the comfort of their own home, like how much do you think TNS makes? Like running 3 tournaments a week, running all those ads, getting all the subs in the comfort of their own house instead of like renting out a venue every week. They make plenty, right?
A lot, yeah.
Yeah. So you know, the TNS is probably looking at it like, damn, you know, we make this much, you know, being at home, but we do the offline thing because we love the community. You know, financially, it's a terrible decision, right? But they do it because they love the community, you know. But eventually, they're gonna reach an impasse where they're gonna have to make a decision. And I wouldn't fault them for them being like, you know what, we have to stay online. Maybe they'll switch to invitationals, but it's just so hard financially.
And look at this too. Like all these online tournaments are typically free to enter. The times where there has been an entry fee, the whole community was up in arms. And it's not like these brackets just run themselves. It's not like the stream production is getting run for free. It's not like all this equipment and the commentators are like appearing out of thin air. It's like the whole infrastructure of it is like 9 out of 10 times when you see a commentator on a stream and the producer and everything, like everybody's doing it because they love it. They're not getting paid for these positions.
Exactly.
Right? And it's like we ask, hey, can you pay $5 to enter this tournament that I'm hosting and has 500 something people in it, or even like 60 people in it, and all of a sudden it's the worst thing in the world. It's like, why would you charge this? I'm sitting at home to play. And it's like, tournaments are a privilege. They're not a given. And it's not sustainable for like organizers to, I really think it's not sustainable for organizers to not charge, especially with how much work it takes to coordinate in the Discord, make sure that everybody's connections are fine, troubleshoot with people for hours, right? Like there's so many hands that go in the pot, and it's like there's a lot of people who just do it for free, and without them, if we get frustrated, it's over. Like it's hard.
I mean, we could look at Team Spooky, right? That's a perfect example.
Or even Bum, to be honest, because sorry, I was eating while I was letting everyone speak.
Wow, did it like 2 seconds ago too.
Bum used to charge $10 to enter, you know, City Mayhem and shit.
Yeah.
Right? And eventually he stopped, and then he started grinding Match Arena really hard. He's always pushing. He's done a very great job of like getting good prize pools for the players and everything, right?
Nobody can push a match arena like Bum.
Yeah, but there were a lot of people that were like, there were a lot of people that were coming at Bum's neck. I remember at one point, it's like, how the fuck you charging $10 for an online event? It's like, bro, because he's trying to pay the TOs that are helping him run it in the Discord. He's trying to pay the players, obviously. It's like, and like, yeah, I'm sure as
he's
anyone
greedy,
logically
bro.
would. No, but I'm sure logically as anyone would, he would also like to make a little bit of money. But a lot of that shit is either like breaking even or very little profit, because like.
Well, he also reinvests pretty much everything back into the scene.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Niggas out there buying $2,000 cameras and all these mics and equipment consoles, you know what I'm saying? It's
Working out the venues for
it's like, bro, do y'all think this shit comes free? Like, you know what I'm saying?
There's no sponsors here either. I mean, he's actually just a fucking one-man army. Like, he just books it out on his own dime.
Yeah, so it's
like
interesting
the recent
because,
Street Fighter tournament. obviously didn't have that many people, right? You definitely went negative on that one.
I would say like he absolutely had to have lost money on that, and that's just the bullet that he bit because he wanted to do something like that for the community. I'm sure he expected a better turnout than that, and I was disappointed for him that it wasn't better because I expected it to be a lot bigger.
I thought it was going to be huge, and
Yeah.
damn.
$18,000 in the pot, and what, 60 people entered?
Give or take.
Yeah, roughly. Without DQs, I don't even know. But you can, I don't know. It's unfortunate. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
It's just, people are so used to being in the comfort of their own home, right?
Yeah.
Especially like this.
I wouldn't even say it's just that, because like.
Well, what I was gonna follow up with was like, especially the top level players are like, oh, I'll just enter can opener, TNS, and just win that, or get second place, and like make the same amount through running ads and winning the tournament, or getting second and getting subs, right? Because you know, the domino effect, right? Like, I bet every time Punk wins a tournament, he gets like 50 subs or something, right? Runs ads.
I believe Strive players were having this like exact discussion quite a while ago, wasn't it? With the just complete oversaturation of online like tournaments and how easy it is to not go to offlines, which was a real fun suffering from success situation with Dragon Ball over here.
Don't ask me. I don't keep up with the online anything.
I mean, it's hard. There's so much. Which is like, again, it's a blessing and a curse. It's a double-edged sword. But this is like, I don't blame people for not knowing about certain events or not tuning in, because it's like, I mean, I'm sure there's tournaments going on for games right now as we speak that I.
Well, there definitely is one.
Oh, for sure.
Just passed by it.
I need to tickle my casual bone real quick. Look, I need to know. I have a question. I made a tweet not too long ago. I hate to switch the topic. We can stay on. Lotus, you're the moderator. Can I cook?
No, by all means.
All right. So I made a tweet.
Go ahead.
After I saw how the limit break characters were with the little level 1 and the level 3 and how crazy just limit break characters were, that got me to thinking, man. I was like, I found myself, at least early on, it kind of died out eventually, but early on, right after the patch, I was like, damn, I low-key just want my first 2 characters to die real quick so I can like do some crazy shit with my limit break character. And then that made me think, I was like, what if Dragon Ball Fighters had like just the option? I know they have the option locally for 1v1, but the limit break isn't on.
You want Skull Girls.
Girls.
I've never played Skull Girls, but
what if I want to play Goku?
Hear me out. Knows a lot about Skull Girls, but the option to be like, I want to go in with just having one character from the jump. Or just...
you have a ratio system.
I just want it to be like a mode where it's just 1v1, so both sides, but like let's say triple the health or something, or double the health.
Yeah, that's.
And then like limit break. Do you guys think 1v1 in a competitive? Because if you're playing locally, you can do 1v1. Obviously, right now Fighters has it to where if it is 1v1, you're not limit break, because you have to like tag in for that to like activate or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. What would you guys think? Because I feel like adding a little more spice to the game. I know it's built to be a team game, and also the other question is, 1, would that be dope? 2, who do you think would be the best character in the game if it was just a 1v1, like with probably Gogeta, I would guess.
Yeah,
Gogeta 4 probably. Yeah,
it would be Gogeta 4. I think the level 7 blue Gogeta would be insane.
Well, the cool part about the idea of a 1v1 for Dragon Ball especially is the fact that Dragon Ball doesn't really have much in terms of counter picking or anything like that. But in a 1v1 version, there actually could be counter picking in Dragon Ball, and I think that would be interesting to see.
Right, I think that would be sick. I don't know. Again, that's just the casual bone, but I'm just
that one touch game will go so crazy.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't be able to have the situation where characters die in one touch. Or,
I was gonna say,
you gonna give Tien more health?
And don't change the damage. Then that's fine.
What do y'all think the neutral would be like if that were a thing, right? Because is it people like, I'm about to just wild up from the start and get this hit right away, or do you think niggas would be like, I don't know, bro, because if I get hit once, it's a wrap for me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
some of these full screen anti-neutral lariats aren't exactly all that good anymore, because suddenly you do it and you can't have an assist to do it, so all of a sudden you're minus
lariat into
that would actually be really interesting.
Like that, so
I think a 1v1 Fighters could be dope.
But even with the triple health, S Broly would still find a way to TOD you.
Someone brought an interesting thing. Coach Steve used to win 1v1 tournaments back in season 3.
Oh yeah,
they were fun.
That was an era. But yeah, Coach Steve used to do that. So shout outs to him.
You just reminded me of the 3v3 from the Summit House way back in the day.
When everyone played the the only thing I remember of that one
like
was
Cell and
Cell and the two Kid Boo's team named Cell's Daycare.
And then there was it was Piccolo Diccolo with Hook and Apology Man.
Oh my lord!
Definitely
made that name.
It was Hook, Apology Man, and I think Nakio.
I don't even remember that
I forget who
myself.
the third member was.
Also, this
I
is
think
also.
It was Nakio, and I think he was playing Super Saiyan Goku.
That's fire.
Also casual bone, because we've been on the competitive shit. We talked about fuzzies, we talked about these characters and their buffs and stuff. Now we're in my domain, all right? I want to know, do we want to see more do we want to see more do you want to see more DLC like outside of characters? I want to see more DLC like cosmetic shit, like different outfits, stuff like that.
I would unironically, I would 100%.
That's all right.
Go ahead, Raptor.
Well, I was just gonna be quick because I was gonna say, I would 100% pay the price of a full character for just UI Omen. Like
facts.
Just give me that shit. Just please.
Or Super Saiyan God Vegeta.
Bro, me, I just want Super Saiyan Vegeta in the tank top. That's all I want. Like, just put him in the tank top. I'm good.
No Majin? You can get the demos.
Majin Vegeta, I'd rather have Majin Vegeta be his own character because I feel like he'd have different moves.
That is true.
Yeah.
Does Bandai even realize how much money they've missed out on by not putting costumes in this game?
Also, we've only gotten one new map.
I was gonna say someone at Bandai or what, but there's somebody out there that is just so overprotective of their IP that they just refuse to literally print money. Because I would buy the game 3-4 times over in terms of costumes.
Exactly, bro. If they just added new costumes, they could add a new costume for like a couple characters like once a month or something like that. Because I feel like it wouldn't be heavy development, strain or anything like that. So on their part, it's not like a lot of man hours being put in. And then on our part, we're gonna eat that shit up.
This is the only Dragon Ball game without the time chain book, by the way. Like in recent years, the one where it would be the most relevant. The most relevant, where it's like, instead of going into the lab to practice, like I'm going into the time chain. But that was like the
instead we got that OC Studio, whatever the fuck that is, with the points in the background, the Galactic Arena. That's the only new map we ever got.
How about this as an idea, right? How about we have some Twitch drops? That would be great for everyone overall.
I'm with it.
Yeah, watch the game for 2 hours, watch the streamer for 2 hours, and you get an outfit.
Never do that, dog.
But that would probably be the best thing they could do for the game.
It would be sick.
Yeah, it would.
How much?
They don't have Tommy's Lookout.
If ifs and buts was candy and nuts, we don't have a man.
I think it's just a case of like, so for anyone who doesn't know, Fighters is currently still the single best and fastest selling Dragon Ball game of all time.
Yeah,
I think at that point they're just like
far and away Arxis' biggest, most popular, best. Game
I mean, it's still smashing the shit out of Strive. Like,
no, literally, I think Strive is somewhere around like a milli, and DBFZ is 10. So it's literally 10 times.
So it's the fastest selling and best selling.
I just need to have a conversation with somebody, bro. Like I really wish I could just like hit somebody up on speed dial. Like, you guys are missing. Like, you could make so much money just with. You don't have to worry about all the technical. Like, as somebody who I used to do QA testing, it wasn't for fucking Dragon Ball or fighting games, but as somebody who did like bare bones quality assurance testing back before I did YouTube, like I know whenever there's any sort of update in terms of like something balance related, I couldn't imagine how hard it would be to like quality assurance test that. I mean, luckily for us, Fighters doesn't seem to be quality assurance testing any of their buffs and shit like that. But nevertheless, I bring that up to say, like, you wouldn't have to do any of that if you're just adding a new costume or a new map or, little shit like that. I mean, you would have to do a little bit, but nothing nearly as extreme as, actually overhauling a character, which is what they have been doing every patch.
There's shit in the game files. Like, Omen is in the game files. You just flip a switch. I'm pretty sure there's also like Super Saiyan Vegito. Just like
it's a dramatic
in the files. It's in there.
Yes.
The saddest thing is that probably hundreds of people would literally spend $5 just to play Super Saiyan Vegeta with an M on his head.
Yeah,
I would.
No, that's
Oh,
me.
you're gonna color
And
swap.
there are probably like hundreds
Bro,
to thousands
Super
of people
Saiyan-
that would spend $5 for it just
Super
that.
Saiyan Blue
I ain't gonna
Vegeta
hold
with
you,
the
if-
gray outfit, like I would pay for that. Like honestly, I'd just be a
I'd have paid
completionist at
$5
that
for the
point. I
picture
just
of the
buy all
doll.
of them.
Like-
Oh, and this is the biggest one. This is the biggest one. The only reason I don't play TN is because I'm sorry, in my opinion, the green drip was way better than whatever, like the Dragon Ball Super drip.
You
like,
and Dotto both feel that way, and I
No
don't get it 'cause I
shoulders
like
bigger than his
Tien's
head. I
outfit.
agree.
Tien is cool, man.
I need TN. I need swole Dragon Ball Z TN with his
Yeah.
shirt off, bro. That's the TN that I
That,
want.
you just
that
attracted
shit would
him,
be
bro.
hype, dude.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
attracted.
I think the only costume that I like would want and I'd immediately pay for, and I'm surprised they never did it, is if they gave Super Saiyan Goku a Super Saiyan 4 skin and they kept everything the
what?
same and they
Does
just
that
made
sound bad?
no,
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 I don't think
That is
You wanna
so-
know what?
You cooking, but they
but-
would not do that
no,
because
but
it's not
all-
Super Saiyan
yeah,
4
That would be
Goku.
too
But
hard. You would
but
have
all
to
the-
animate
yeah,
the tail.
but all they would do is just make his beams red, like in the old games when he did 10 times Kamehameha, and I'm lit. I'm good.
Because
let him cook.
those audio files are in the game, by the way, and they sync up to Super Saiyan Goku's level 3.
Bro, just give
Yeah,
me
I
Like,
think
base.
way back.
Bro,
Like that
give
shit's
me,
it's in the files.
just give me base Goku and take his shirt off, man. That's all I need.
Yep.
Oh,
Okay.
battle
Yep.
battle damage would
Again, all of
actually
them. If all
would
of
be
them,
easier.
if they just dropped a costume pack and then like half the roster gets a secondary costume, because why is Videl the only one who gets to like switch between the pigtails and like the non?
he's on Videl.
That's how they get me. That's
Every
how.
character should have
In the
something
files,
like
they
that.
actually found like that icon that shows that they had plans for there to be alternate costumes because there's like a whole like thing, like a button that just was able to push
Way
that's a
back
costume
when,
swapping thing, and we found
Maybe
that back
it's-
in season 1.
Wait,
Also,
maybe they're working on it right
You
now.
know, there was
Let's
also a thing where it was like instead of having like the idle characters for character select, they would like do motions like they do in
Yeah,
Strive.
no, the idle animations, yeah, where when you selected them, like
Yeah,
Hit
when
would
you
pull his
select
hands out of his pockets.
Yeah.
Maybe they're working on it for DBFZ too.
Well, okay, and that's another
Okay,
thing I want to
y'all-
bring up.
y'all
DBFZ.
actually- okay, how many people in this call actually think that there will be a Dragon Ball Fighters 2?
I'm hoping
there
and
has
praying,
to
man.
be.
In like 5
I
years.
do, but a better question would be: do you think there's one like near?
No.
No.
I don't think there's one near,
Listen,
but I do
Ox-
think there will eventually at some
Yeah.
point. We're gonna get like hit with
Ox-
the craziest mix.
I would say
Arc
there would
System
be
Works
one
are like
near if we
100.
didn't
There are
get Rollback.
180 people, by the way. The entirety of Arc System Works over every team. It's 180 people. So
I do want to
They are-
say
they
one
are
thing
spread
though.
thin.
You know
I think
that.
also-
But we don't know
almost
if Arxis is
Bro.
even gonna make the next one.
Yeah, I
It
think
ain't
the most
DBFZ if they
realistic.
don't.
I think I was gonna say I think the most realistic answer here is that they're designing this rollback as a stress test for something in the future,
Yeah.
whether it
Yeah.
could be One Piece, Hunter x Hunter, right, or Dragon Ball.
Naruto.
I think
Bleach,
you have
Bleach,
to
Bleach,
understand as well. They have made a Dragon Ball One Piece crossover before on the DS because it was the Butoden X, the One Piece game they made.
That shit was lit.
A stress
It's
test
like,
how,
it's
though?
real.
Like, they already have rollback in every other fucking game that they've made.
Well, not for a fucking tag fighter where everything's
Yes,
moving at a
because
fucking
it's a
million
cut
Yeah,
miles
I-
an hour.
I was
game
gonna say,
and these mechanics.
You could
I
not put
guess, yeah.
you can't put
'Cause that's-
Street
that's
Fighter.
fair.
But here's the thing though. Remember, Arc System Works isn't working on Dragon Ball anymore, so this is Bandai
Yeah, it's
making.
Bandai.
Oh yeah.
This is
that
Bandai
also
making
true.
rollback.
This is Bandai's rollback,
And that's
you
why,
know
and
they have
that's
never
why we
made
gotta
that.
be careful. You know, when some of
but
these
didn't they,
crazy changes happen, everyone's like, "Man, Arxis, come on, Arxis, like,
Man,
what is it
I
with me for?"
forget who,
Bro,
but
I'd be
they
corrected
wouldn't
by
know.
chat.
I've had to correct so many people about the
Yeah,
fact that
literally.
it's just doing these things.
Wasn't it confirmed though? I forget who he is, but there's someone notable and noteworthy that knows what the fuck they're doing with rollback. That is like the head, like piloting this thing to develop it for DBFZ. I don't remember who, but does anyone remember?
He
Looks like
probably
some
got
modder, right?
He probably
That
got
dude-
moved to
that dude
Budokai 4
probably
at this
got-
point.
That dude probably got booted from
Also-
the earth as soon as Bandai heard about that.
Also, we
I
should be
don't remember who he
thankful
was,
that
but
they.
he'd already developed rollback for another game. It might have been Strive. It might have been. I don't know.
I think it
but
was Street Fighter, wasn't it?
I don't remember, but it was someone, and we were all like, "Oh shit, like that's what's up," and I just can't remember his name.
If you think about it, if they did drop Dragon Ball Fighters
dude got
2,
erased.
wouldn't it low key, based off of all the patches that we've received for current Dragon Ball Fighters, like what if, let's say, they stopped updating Dragon Ball Fighters at season 2 or season 3, and then they drop Dragon Ball Fighters 2, but it's just like how this patch is, because
Dude, I'd
that's
hate
the
life.
direction they wanted to take the game, obviously. So it's like, what if they drop Dragon Ball Fighters 2 and it's just like what this patch is? So in a sense, like, because this game is completely different than it was when it first came out. Like this is damn near a different game. It just visually looks the same.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think there's definitely some credence to
too,
that,
right?
since they did that same shit with Luke and Street Fighter
excuse me.
5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the
It
thing:
doesn't have to
people would
be a new
oh,
DBFZ too. It could just be a UI overhaul.
yeah. Well, people would be okay if the drastic changes came in the form of a 2 because it's a whole new game.
Yeah.
People, like
Yeah.
compared to the old game.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stuff
and
like
that makes a lot of sense. 'Cause that's a big thing
Honestly,
for me
though-
too. Is that like it's hard to accept the game for what it is when I know what it used to be and how much I
Yeah.
used to love what it used to be. But when the
Yeah.
game just if a
Bro,
new
every-
game just releases that way,
it
like you
drops
take
like
it,
that.
yeah, you take it for what it is. Like, oh, this is just how the game is. I'm not comparing it to like, oh, but I remember like 3 years ago when I played this game, it was this. It's like, no, this is just how the game is. If you either like it or you don't, but you have a different perspective, I think, on how you view it because it's how it is off rip.
Made only worse by the fact that we had this. Sorry about that, by the way. Just the fact that we've literally had to watch it happen year to year,
Like slowly progressing to what you guys don't like about the game. Yeah.
It's every single year, every single patch. We're basically all saying we didn't want this, and then the next patch we don't care, and then just kept,
Yo,
kept
son.
going.
Yeah, yeah,
These
do what
last
y'all
like
want at
4
this
patches
point.
specifically, it's like, yo, we didn't ask for that, and they're like, well, we're gonna tell you what you want.
Yeah,
Who's
but you don't
that,
want
Yes, I
want
can't argue
Goku's
with
the
that.
only. You don't want the only change to Goku Blue to be his fight man down to flex small key blast.
And then
Too bad.
was command
That's not
grab.
hype.
Sorry, bud. Yeah, that's not hype.
Anyway, I'm glad I could switch this conversation back to casual shit. I am gonna leave again. Goodbye. I love you guys.
I hate
But
this
who's-
guy.
But whose fault would it be, right? Like, is it their fault or our fault for continuing playing the game?
Oh, it's a combination of both because obviously it's a matter of like it's a matter of like who do they decide to listen to. Clearly, it's not like us,
Don't
right?
forget that they got
Also-
remember they got feedback from us. They told us we gave them feedback that we
I don't know what I
wanted
did. That was
this.
auto combo that way, right?
I don't remember them giving us no email, no form to fill out. I ain't seen no Twitter post.
Wait.
You didn't see the
I don't
Reddit
know.
post, Lotus?
I don't use Reddit.
Daniel, don't you remember that day that we asked for Vidal's auto combo to whiff on crouchers?
Oh yeah, you didn't see the Facebook or the MySpace Reddit post or
The
whatever?
MySpace post?
I think
Yeah, the MySpace post.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't want to say this because I feel like this might be extremely petty, but like I feel like they be making changes out of spite sometimes.
No, they 100% do.
The entire
I think so
community
too.
asked
They
for
could,
us
like,
to
here, they
remove,
could dance.
like, please
No,
remove
wait.
these special moves having extra properties, like key blast involved, projectile involved. Gotta go. They're like, say less. Guard
Hold
point,
on,
have
I gotta
fun.
add to that, dude. I gotta add to
You
that.
gotta put it on
Someone-
normals.
Someone at Arxis or Bandai, I swear, had a hate boner for me, dude. Every character I touched just died.
Yo, funny that you mentioned that. Cloud,
Why didn't you play Fusion's Cloud?
Wait,
Cloud,
hold on.
man.
So there was my friend said this. It was a couple weeks ago. My friend said this. He was like, "Have you noticed that they nerfed every black man's character?" I took off my glasses to say this. You can't
Lord
see. I took off my glasses. to
Lord
say this.
19, rock
They
and roll.
nerfed
No,
every black man's
they
character.
consistently fuck
Yo.
over LK like on a very regular.
You are
You're following him, bro.
You kidding me? Nerfed. Team
Fucking hell,
Gohan.
man.
Well, Fred's kind of
Make
right,
him
right,
go
Fred?
smoke,
You're
Fred.
Fred.
Wait, I'm back. What happened?
Wait,
don't
my man
go
handing out
on.
passes over here.
I don't know, bro. They
Majin
seem way cooking. They
21.
said fuck Janemba and hit. These niggas need to get meter nerf for some reason.
Yeah, March 21 was my fault, dude. Sorry, I played her in
Nah,
the
that
nerf
was
her.
definitely
That was
my
my fault,
fault.
dude.
It was definitely my fault. I will take. I'll take the blame for it. Cloud. It's
Nah,
okay.
I'm sorry if I hated Janemba, boys. Sorry for that.
There's no way that wasn't like a correlation of you being in like the finals.
No,
Even-
No,
even-
they
even-
literally
even though-
looked at
These
every
niggas saw-
single character
they
in
saw
the grand
hit-
finals and nerfed them. Every
They
single
saw
one.
hit in a mirror match one time and was like, nah, that can never happen again. Like,
Nah,
yo,
something wrong
relax,
here.
This is gonna go.
relax. They
Okay,
seen this
y'all-
nigga hit in
y'all-
top 8.
They said it's
Y'all
not,
realize that
finals,
it's
yeah,
not
that cannot happen.
fusions, dude. It's not Goku. It's not Vegeta. Nah,
Hit's not
can't
hype.
have that.
No, bro, they literally went to grand finals just like every
Skip
single
the whole
character here
VOD.
packed up. Every single
Packed up.
Janemba, Hit,
Gotta
Lab
go.
Coat, Blue, Cheetah, Vegeta.
That's because the French are the one that write the patch notes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, they love
Wawa,
y'all.
Wawa somewhere in there writing the patch notes again.
Okay, I actually, because it feels like obviously, and I don't know if it's because most of us are familiar with talking with each other all the time, but I feel like it's especially like I don't know. I'm not as in tune with the French or the rest of the European scene as I am with like you guys, obviously. So I want to hear more from like Seihan and Wei, because I feel like obviously they've spoken the least, whether that's a matter of comfort or just because it's late over there. And then
They're ugly.
We're just really fucking loud. We're just really loud.
Well, that's also a thing, but I want to hear because like I don't actually know, for example, like what the scene is at all around Seihan. Like, do you have locals out there? Are there other people that are still playing the game? What the general like landscape is looking like? How people are feeling or anything?
Do you
like
have
that?
friends?
Why you been on this nigga head?
Hey,
Yeah,
let me defend this man. I have no friends that I grew up with that play games like this. All
No,
right,
I don't think
got
any
you,
of us
say
do.
hi.
I thought
I
that shit was
got
going to end at
you.
I have no friends.
Damn, what
Appreciate
your
your
friends?
notes.
Anyway, Seihan, go on, please.
So, in Germany, we basically have, like, at least in my region, we have no local scene at all. And even, like, throughout Germany in general, there are very few local scenes, even, like, at all. And the problem is the German players, we are, like, very few German players, and we are all spread out throughout Germany. So if I want to, like, go play offline with a German player, it's easier to drive to France and play versus Wade than driving to the other side of Germany to play, I don't know, Haikai or Jathan or whoever.
Insane.
So it's not really that good. And talking about Rollback again, the big problem with Germany is we have very bad routing, and Germany's internet is also very inconsistent. So Rollback for me especially is very important because I have no local scene, and our internet environment is quite bad. So Rollback is or would be a lifesaver for me to actually play the game. But well, if you don't have Rollback, I don't have any motivation to, you know, lab and play the game because I can't. That's the issue.
That's
So does that mean
Sure.
are you excited for Project L then? To sidebar a little bit.
I am. I actually wasn't interested at all in Project L, but after I saw, you know, some more gameplay, especially after Evo, I definitely got very hyped, and I'm definitely looking forward to playing it.
From what I got to play at Evo, the game does seem pretty fun.
Oh, the game is actually lit.
Yeah,
I'm just so happy to see another fighting game with high mobility.
Bro, I was so upset because like you only get to play like a couple of matches, and I felt like by that third game that I played, I was like, oh, I'm starting to understand how Arya works. I'm like, oh, little mix here, little combo there, and then
15 minutes
Back of the line.
yeah,
Back
I was like,
boy.
I would just start to kind of understand, and then it was over.
I mean,
I got to play
all
one game.
All the content creators and top players get that shit too. Like,
No.
you have to go line up again.
Yeah, but I think we got lucky because we stayed there like for 1 hour and a half straight, and they
Seriously?
didn't
Oh,
bro.
they didn't
like-
say we just played.
Funny that you mentioned that, right? Because like I had a meet and greet thing with FlyQuest, and like I was like at least 10 minutes late because I was playing Project L.
Damn.
I was like, damn, they're gonna hate me.
Hey, bro, who I need to contact at Riot? How come I ain't get the invite? Like, I know I ain't no one special, but damn, I want to make some content on the game. I'll promote it for you. Know what I'm saying? Who I gotta hit up? To get
I'll be honest, I am kind of surprised you weren't invited.
I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't until I saw just how many people were, and I was like, damn, I kind of feel like
Here's my
I
question.
feel like I could have been part of that group.
Here's my question for you, Lotus, because you definitely have the metrics for it on YouTube and on Twitch. And I how many followers do you have on Twitter?
Like almost 60K, I think.
Okay, cool. So here's the biggest thing. I need you to go follow the Riot FGC account and literally just open your mouth. Because if you don't open your mouth, you can't get fed, right? If you would have even had
I do be saying that.
one single conversation with anybody there, and they would have been like, "Yeah, we want this guy." If they knew you were at Evo, they would have given you a pass, guaranteed.
Say less. I'm following the account right the fuck.
It's true though, because like, and when you think about it,
FGC account follows me.
When you think about it, like the content creators such as Lotus and stuff, right? They have the biggest reach for sure. I'm more than a competitive player, guaranteed.
100%.
They'll listen to you more before they listen to a competitive player, because.
Okay, but that being said, though, I do. While that is true, I need to temper expectations and things like that because as somebody with a following, and I'm looked at as like, you know, oh, I have this power, this influence because I'm a content creator and I have whether it's the 100K subscribers or however many followers, wherever, right? I just want people in the YouTube comments and in the Twitch chat to understand that yes, the influence is there to some degree, the impact is there to some extent, but I just feel like we are I think people overestimate just how much power influence that we have. Because like I remember I was responding to a comment the other day who was basically like, you know, you should be using your power to like make this change and that change. Like, look here, my nigga. If I had that level of impact or influence on the decision making behind the balancing of Dragon Ball FighterZ, the game would not look anything like the fuck it does right now. Okay, so like,
look at what Nokami did, bro. Bardock
you know what I'm saying? Like, I do truly believe there was a single patch that was in fact the YouTuber patch, because they nerfed Base Vegeta Rocket Kick, which was my doing. They nerfed Bardock B Assist, which was Kami's doing, and they nerfed the fuck out of Yamcha, which was Dado's doing. I truly believe that was the YouTuber patch, but we didn't ask for that. We didn't want that. We were just having fun making videos, and niggas like, yep, no fun. And I was like, I guess I'll go fuck myself. But like,
that's actually something I'd be like mentioning OD, but like, people, you got to be careful what you meme about, because that is the community.
No, because that's
barrier is why we're here.
No,
like,
memes are dangerous. Memes are dangerous because that shit got nerfed off memes, because the same thing applies to Super Saiyan Goku. Nobody, and I mean nobody, actually thought Super Saiyan Goku was overpowered or too strong or needed to be nerfed, or that his 2M was too good, right? But we memed about it. We called the nigga 2M Ku.
2M Ku,
and they thought we didn't like it, and so they nerfed it. They snapped his leg, and the nigga ain't never been the same since. He could walk again, but he still got a little bit of a limp. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was never the same.
They proceeded to never nerf character again.
Yeah, y'all fault.
That shit is unfortunate.
Yo, nah, it's actually Wawa's fault. Let's be honest. Be Kazunoko, that was over.
It's straight up 1984 out here. We're not allowed to talk at all. They're always watching. They're always listening.
But yeah, that being said,
if they're always listening, I am screwed.
Yep.
I mean, no, you're fine, mate. No matter what you say about Beerus, he's getting another buff.
I say that to say that sometimes the real influence or impact that we have as content creators or people with a following isn't necessarily in the ways that you'd want or expect it to. And then when you actually ask out loud vocally for certain changes or to see improvements, it don't always work out the way that you would hope. Because I'm seeing it now with myself, but I've seen it for years, because obviously you guys know, like like CRX was just here, and then like even like some of the homies with even bigger phones like Rhymestyle and Afro, who are obviously very close friends of mine. Niggas see like, oh, he got over 1 million subscribers, he must be able to do this and that. It's like, look, bro, for one, it'd probably be different with Riot, because this is over here. But like, the niggas in Japan don't give a fuck what a black nigga on YouTube got to say. I could help the voice be heard. I could talk to somebody at Bandai who could then send it over there. It don't mean they gonna care or listen. But I just want to say that to just say that, like, because I've seen it multiple times. I don't have the power or influence over Dragon Ball FighterZ that I think some of y'all would like to believe. If I did, Trunks wouldn't have been this bad for this long. If I did, a lot of things would be different. But it is what it is.
He was broken. You didn't see Inzo's video?
Shit.
Nobody in here actually watches Inzo's videos.
I think he got a lot.
And I'm not gonna say that character was in Grand Finals right before the patch. Just saying. Just saying. It wasn't Wawa, but just throw that out there. That's it. I'm about to get attacked in the comments. That's it. That's all I want.
And he fucking DBFZ fucking Evo Grand Finals was a mirror match of the Fusions in 17 still. So I don't want to hear nothing about nothing.
I mean, that's not a fair competition. That's not fair. That's literally just not fair. And you know it isn't.
If it's not Vegito, it's not broken.
Wait, so real quick before because I actually want to talk about this. Do y'all think they actually like kind of sort of balance the game right now based off the lore of the series? Part of me feels like they kind of are, considering how like much they've been buffing the
I think they just did it based upon how many the representation of the characters. So like they did this with Gotenks, right? Gotenks was one of the least played characters online for like a while, and they buffed him to God knows what. So I'm guessing they do it on that, and then they probably do it on DLCs. You know, the characters they want to be played
usually got to be juiced.
Yeah. There's definitely a case of like the fusions cannot be allowed to like be weak in any way.
Yeah,
but they literally said they want a character that weren't played a lot to be played more often. That was part of the patch.
You know, 100% that character usage has a huge influence, and I feel like before in the past it was like, okay, characters that aren't played as much, we're gonna buff them, and characters that are played a lot more, we're gonna bring them down. Whereas it feels like now it's just like we're just constantly trying to bring everybody up. But 100%, it's like they do absolutely take lore into account. I mean, you look at the game, despite how it feels right now in terms of like some of the decisions they make with the balancing, they absolutely, like, the people that worked on this, they were either huge fans of it or they definitely did their due diligence. Everything from like the animations to the little references in terms of like certain characters doing damage, like, oh, this is Android 18 and her super does 1800 damage, or this is 21 or this does 21% or whatever the case may be, or like certain like level 3s like or level 1s that have their super damage being the equivalent to like the year that the movie that they were in released, you know, shit like that, right? They obviously packed a lot of lore into this, and I have no doubt that the lore of the character's power in the series is meant to carry over to the game. But also just feels like, okay, now we just want the game to be as crazy as possible. and we want everybody to be able to compete. So while the fusions might still be stronger than everyone else, it's like we still want Krillin to be able to kick somebody's ass. So
Yeah.
I can agree.
Yeah, well, you know the lore is at least taking some part of the effect because of the fact that the Nappa Cybermen by themselves are stronger than Yamcha.
This
It's
is
true, man. It's true. Those Cybermen
In Yamcha's defense, in Yamcha's defense, that Cyberman's better than like 80% of the cast to begin with. So
that Cyberman is fucking.
You're not wrong.
That's gotta be
more accurate.
That Cyberman
has to be like top 2 or 3 moves in the game, right? Because I made a video.
I think it's probably one of the best moves.
Okay, so I recently made a video where I was like, what was it, the top 10 or top 15? Top 10 like special moves in Dragon Ball Fighters. And like I didn't necessarily put them in order, but like the last couple that I talked about were like GT Goku, like Reverse Kame, and like Nappa Cyberman. I feel like those are probably like the top two specials in the game.
I agree.
And then Perfect Attack.
I mean,
and yes, Cell X Perfect.
Yeah, Perfect Attack.
Yeah, that one's really.
That was also on the list.
That one, I've been playing a lot of Cell actually recently and just laughing at how good that shit is.
Bro, I just been online just like hitting that move out of block stun, out of hit stun.
The ignorance is sick, right?
It's not even frame 4, it's frame 2.
No, it's frame 4. It's frame 4.
Is it frame 4?
They look at it.
It's still frame 1 anti-air though. That's the good part about it.
Oh yeah. I didn't get the memo during the patch notes. I'm playing Red Gogeta and I hit 6H and he died. Like I lost the character. I was like, what's happening?
That shit is ridiculous.
Yeah,
no, I don't know if I just missed it in the original translation or what, but I didn't realize how juiced that move got.
Yeah.
I was playing online after the patch, and I was playing a Cell play, and the nigga just kept mashing that shit on block. I was like, yo, why am I fucking?
You're
Am I tweaking?
Right,
Bro, that was my exact reaction.
I had to pull up the notes. I was like, okay, they made this shit. I was like, yo, am I tweaking? That was my reaction. I was like, what's really going on here?
Listen,
you were probably playing me, dude. That's the worst part.
This is what you do, Lotus. You pick GT Goku. And you just do reverse Kame. It's an
and then we go past each other.
And welcome to the reason why I don't like this patch.
This shit is.
I don't like the most.
At this point, we're just going full circle, right? It's just like GT Goku is back to being the best.
Towers on top again. It's like,
I'd rather GT Goku and Cell be the best for what they did before, not because they have this one invincible move that they do 24/7. There's nothing you could do about it.
Oh well, I mean, the crazy part, at least
now than it was in season 2.
Wait, what'd you say, Daniel?
Is GT Goku better now than he was in season 2?
Yes.
In a very different way. But the thing is,
it's in a different way, yeah.
Because season 2 GT Goku had a very clear-cut win condition, whereas I don't feel like that's necessarily the case now. You could argue that the character is stronger now, but it's like, okay, you have a win condition. It's like, I get this hit, I'm in the corner, I spirit bomb, you get this disgusting level 3 makes 2-touch, you die. And like the game is just 2-touch in general, so I guess it's just like, oh, I'm just gonna reverse Kame until it lands. And I guess you could consider that your win condition, but I don't feel like that's as like straightforward or as like season 2.
I'm gonna be honest.
And with, go ahead, Vincent.
I'll say I'm gonna be honest. I'm giving it to season 2 only because like in comparison to the rest of the cast, it's not a close.
True.
Like he was a do-all character in season 2. He's do shit now, but he's not do-all. He's not like the best neutral assist. Also the best level 3 mix. Also some of the best corner mix. Also some of the best.
Also he had that ridiculous hip. He had that ridiculous hitbox.
It was also like
hurt
during the patch where they removed because this was way back. It was so going into the next season they removed all multi supers and then added a character who had the best multi supers the game had ever seen.
Level 3,
yeah, like the best multi supers the game had ever seen at the time.
But you never did level 3 because you just the Oki and saved your bar because they're never blocking.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah.
You have like a 12-way mix
up in the game.
I've never seen
you would
somebody
still see level 3 into level 1 a lot.
Nah, in Japan, bro, they didn't even do the mix. They just snapped. They didn't let level 3 yeah.
I snapped for free.
Yeah.
Spirit bomb into snap.
Because listen, when you're holding a level 3 mix-up, there was a slight chance you might interact with your opponent, so there was no point in that. You just snap them.
Yeah, you get 2 50-50s.
The craziest part about that is that they had like 8 different mix-ups. That was a 50-50.
The real way, but the real question is, do you guys still get PTSD?
Nah.
I mean, it's been so long since we've seen like GT.
it's a birth of new PTSD though. He does a quarter circle back, and you're like, fuck.
Thank you, people of the universe. That don't echo in your head, like Professor Oak used to say. It don't.
He's using he's using their powers in different ways now, bro.
Like, also, GT Goku was really annoying in the moment, but I like the character and stuff. Like, I think GT Goku.
I never really liked him. I just played him.
Fun to play. Well, you know, teach their own. But I actually like the character. I remember when he released, a lot of people were upset because they're like, this should have just been Super Saiyan 4, or they
100%.
They just didn't give a fuck
Well,
about
they tried to kill 3 birds with 1 stone with like Kid
and
Goku, GT Goku, and then
they made the
Super
mistake of
Saiyan
trying to
4.
please everybody and ended up pleasing a lot less people than they could
pleasing
have.
pretty much no one at that point, because like the Kid Goku, like who want the actual Dragon Ball Kid Goku, weren't happy with him. People who just want GT weren't happy that, or like the only way you get to use like the Super Saiyan forms is just with his level 1. And then there's people like myself who just wanted like just a standalone Super Saiyan 4 character.
So you know my problem with it?
Yeah.
His tail never turned yellow when he turned Super Saiyan.
That's what you're upset about.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie, they did us justice in the future though.
You weeb, bro.
Why are you even still here? You have nothing to contribute. And
Damn.
Hey, let my nigga come.
And you're ugly.
Damn.
Boy, it's 3 a.m. bro.
Not the soundboard, dude.
No, that's OD.
Like
Wait, you gonna take that, bro?
What?
You gonna let him say that to you, bro?
You said,
Yeah, dude, you gotta hit him with one of these. You gotta hit him with the.
Nah.
don't worry, I'll see Wade soon. I'll see Wade soon.
No, but like, this nigga forget that it's fucking 2:30 a.m.
Why would I even know what time it is over there? Your place is not real.
It's a 5-hour difference from you, dude. Come on.
It's not real over there.
Time zones are crazy out here. Do you know
Bro said
like,
you are
the
not worth exerting
sacrifices
the
I
mental
made?
capacity it would take for him.
Nitro discovers time zone. More news at 5.
Yeah,
Or do
the
that.
sacrifices I made to be here today. I had to wake up at 7 a.m. Can you believe that?
That's
I
not
I
hype.
had to wake up at 5 p.m. Like, fuck, man.
I actually woke up like 30 minutes ago.
I'm just happy to be here.
Damn.
Y'all know me, and I know Pred been trying to hit me up for games and shit, and every day he hit me up. I reply like 4 or 5
Pred,
hours
nobody
later,
wants
like,
to
hey,
play
bro,
you.
I just woke up.
Yo, can you
Hey,
disconnect Nitro?
Look, I do not currently have the game installed on any platform, but I'll reinstall it to play with Pred.
There we
Which
go.
game?
This game?
Which game?
The game we've been talking about, by the way.
You gotta switch up on me real quick, alright?
You mean we haven't been talking about Mario Party this whole time?
Damn.
Listen, dude, Mario Wonder's coming out, and I am so fucking ready.
I will watch anybody in here Mario Party.
Nitro, no, Zane is definitely the best person I've ever seen.
Nah.
He is such a sweat. Like
You haven't seen Cocaine God.
I will.
I will.
Listen. I'm gonna say this in front of all of you, dude. I have noticed far and wide ranges that fighting game players suck at everything but fighting games.
All right, money match me.
Play real games.
Okay, hold on.
Infinite amount of money.
Cloud. So it's
I'm a Gears of War player, so.
yeah, I was gonna say InZone.
And Inzim is a god at Gears. He gets an asterisk.
When are we gonna do that Sonic Adventure race that we talked about a while ago?
Speedrun one, dude. I am so down.
You are not beating
what
Zane,
I'm
bro.
hearing
Give
is,
up.
when is the Zane versus Hook Mario Party money match?
I have money on Hook. I'm sorry. That's he
No,
got
you
my
need
money on Hook.
money.
I got
You
so
can't-
much
you
money
can't-
on Hook.
Hold on.
Respectfully,
I can't beat him sober.
As a gamer, when I played League of
You'll
Legends
only beat
competitively,
sober.
I was on the number 2 ladder team. So like, get fucked.
Listen,
Speak on it.
Jake, nobody
Cloud,
compares.
I
What you
take
have to
a
say? Shut
particular
up.
issue with that shit.
So in
mate.
other
I
words,
take
you
a
niggas is
particular
getting
issue
washed
with
in
that.
Project L. is what
Jump
you're saying.
Nitro?
Listen, I have 10k hours at arena shooters, FPS, which was my background before I started.
Yo, my man playing all the Quake.
Yeah, listen, man. You want to try that shit?